Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Unpaid and Underrated podcast, the podcast about crew, by crew, for crew, and, you know, still kicking, still kicking. We're on episode like 1300 or something like that. Feels like we've been doing this for years. I can't believe we already surpassed Massonomics. We're doing really good here, guys. We're doing really good here.
Said we are legitimately about to overtake the C Team podcast. I think they're at like 28 or 29 episodes, but they're pretty much like dead. Like I'm like friends with a few of them, and I don't know that they'll be putting out any more content ever again, or at least not in the near future. So in the next month or so, I should be able to text them and bust their balls that we surpassed them. So let's keep that up. I think we're closing in on 6 months.
Outstanding. Kinda. I'm tired. I'm so tired. You guys can already tell I'm joined by Big Keith. I'm Joey, and we have Big Matt here. Big Matt Cesney from the Wolf Pack.
Hello, crew. How are you guys doing tonight?
Wonderful, buddy. How about you?
I am fantastic. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm living the dream. That's what I'm doing. Living the dream. You know what? You've already got your drink spotter out. Tell us what you're drinking.
So, well, I've got it's a zero sugar monster. I'm typically part of the White Monster Mafia, Nectar of the Gods, but we get the variety packs from Sam's Club, and the wife wanted the one with the mango and the pink rosé flavor in there too with the white. So this is what we're having tonight. I've been up since 4 a.m. So, I mean, what better time to have a monster than at almost 9 o'clock at night, So we do it.
Yeah, actually, I every time I go to the kind of the lunch break room and they don't have White Monster, I think of you, because that's the one I buy. Like the green Monster tastes like battery acid. Red Bull doesn't have enough caffeine, but there's always like the White Monster's empty. I'm like, where's Matt? Keith, what do you got there?
It is beer. It's beer 30. So I got my Mick Ultra of choice. It is beer 30.
Oh, Matt, you were going to say something. What was that?
I was going to say the White Monster is that perfect amount of caffeine where it's more than coffee, more than Red Bull, but it's not like a rain or a pre-workout or something that will ruin your day or give you an upset stomach. So that's why we stand behind it for good,
Oh, yeah, that's fair. I'm drinking Green and Grit. It's called the Nevermind India Pale Ale. Keith, this one has a specialty hops, which is a Tango and Zamba hops. Now these are bred, like they're bred to taste different, so they're just a mixture of other hops.
Gotcha.
Taste a little like candy. These hops do. They've got like a weird jelly bean flavor to them. This is it's a weird beer, but it's delicious and it's strong because. Oh yeah, that's a good face. I wish I'd gotten that face frozen. All right, what are you wearing?
So I do have my Massonomics band Don't Buy the Lift hats, the OG Lift logo, RIP. For the shirt, we're representing Big Emmett Reese Reyes with our Reyes Total Performance shirt, going with the Fiesta theme on the Monster can. And then down below, stand up, the curl shorts, they're hanging in there a little bit, They don't look as good as when they were brand new, but there's still a little bit of writing left on them. So we're representing Massonomics on the top and the bottom.
Hell yeah. Keith just has a regular red shirt. Is that just a regular red shirt?
No, yep, just a rich red. No, it's the this 7-year anniversary podcast shirt.
Oh, I love that shirt. I know they're all the same blanks, but for some reason I feel like that one just fits better. I have
what you got, buddy?
I have an Obsidian Ammonia. It's wearing a comp shirt, so it has
I like that maroon.
It has my lift bearded across the back, because you can see it under my singlet, and it was just honestly, so most of my medium shirts are getting small, so now I'm desperately just trying to find shirts that don't make me feel like I'm going to rip them when I'm wearing them.
Well, you had an opportunity today. There was a drop. If anyone's listening to this, it's 4 or 5 days old by now, but they got the what was it, the Pabst Blue Ribbon, or the Blue Ribbon Powerlifter shirt, the camo hoodie, the camo windbreaker, and a hat with the crew patch of some sort. Yeah,
it's a crew patch adjacent, because it doesn't have the rollouts over the U. So
yeah,
I think they didn't want to, infringe on our copyright and get another cease and desist from us this time. I actually didn't pick anything up because like I have so many hoodies, I have so many shirts, and I can't keep just buying shirts all the time and paying American prices and having them shipped up here. Like where I work, I can get them for $10 for 5. Like it's if I'm gonna keep growing out of them, I'm gonna have to start making smarter choices with my money.
Yeah, $35 is hard to swallow sometimes. If it's like, I don't know where my weight's going to be in 6 months, so
Yeah,
you kind of got to have like 3 different wardrobes. So I do. It's like if I lost 20 pounds, I'd gain like 5 different Masonomic shirts back into my wardrobe. I did end up picking up the blue ribbon. I think it's called the blue ribbon powerlifter or whatever the PBR adjacent shirt. I got that coming, so that'll be here in a few days probably.
I was gonna get it, but I was gonna only get it if I could order other things too. And the powerlifting record shirt is sold out in both sizes I would want. So I couldn't justify one shirt in the drop.
That makes sense for sure.
Matt, did you pick anything up?
I'm definitely thinking about the hoodie. I love hunting, so camo is just part of all of my wardrobe. I already own the windbreaker. I bought it the first time it came out. I haven't had a chance to wear it that much, but we're just getting into fall, so it might be time to start breaking that out. It kind of came out like end of spring, I think, last time, and it got warm pretty quick. So I'm thinking about the hoodie, or should I say the South Dakotan jacket.
I was thinking about that too and getting it in a large. I might have to do. I think payday's tomorrow, and we'll see what money I lose after, after payday. I'm wearing camel pants, but they're just joggers, so I'm not showing them off. I'm not going to stand up on a podcast and you guys can describe my ass to the listeners.
we wouldn't see them. We'd just see, it's camouflage. We wouldn't see much.
I don't know anybody that would stand up on a podcast to show what kind of pants or shorts they're wearing.
Nice.
Well, I mean, if you see, yeah, I think what's Big Ryan did it too, but like I'm not going to stand up and go, look, camo joggers. Like curl shorts means something. Standard camo track pants. Do you guys call them track pants?
I guess I don't.
There's joggers,
Maybe
sweatpants, track pants.
I've only really called them sweatpants growing up.
I only call them track pants when I'm referring to Ricky from Trailer Park Boys and the awesome snap down Adidas ones he used to wear. So those are track pants in my heart. Maybe that's because it's a Canadian thing.
Well, we call those tearaways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you can just rip them off and show your Stoltman smugglers, which just came out, I think, today too. Did you guys get a chance to listen to this week?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Big Dr. Mike.
Even got to listen to it with my wife in the car, and I told her like this dude's hilarious, so get ready. And she actually really enjoyed him too. Didn't get a chance to finish it because I guess when I got out of the car, my podcast app was like, "Yeah, we're gonna restart this," but I was like 20 minutes from the end, and I couldn't be bothered to no, I'm not fast forwarding. Like that's the most annoying thing I think that's ever happened.
Yeah, I consume the podcast on 2 different phones usually because when I'm in my work truck, it's usually my work phone's paired to just so my boss calls my work phone, it's paired to that. So like 75% of the shit I listen to is on my work phone, but then when I get home, I have to open up the same app and it usually syncs up, but sometimes the app has to be open for a couple minutes for it to catch the exact timing, and it's just fuck, where was I? I could just manually try to do it, and yeah, I definitely feel the pain on that because I bounce back and forth.
Yeah, no patience for that. So yeah, 5 JDs because it's Dr. Mike. Like every time he's on, he makes me laugh, and he's really smart and he's really funny. His sense of humor knows how to ride the line without going over it, which I really appreciate because that fits in with our kind of, keeping it lighthearted but still kind of pushing the boundaries of edginess. So I do appreciate that about him too. So I definitely, that's 5 JDs for me.
Yeah, that's a fair rating. I'm probably just go ahead and combine the chicken bake video and the podcast because I kind of consumed them all right around the same time. And Israel was essentially the entire chicken bake video. That was really funny. I don't think I've known about it a lot. I haven't consumed a lot of Israel's content. It just needs, kind of on my radar, but not something that I really go on my way to watch. I definitely don't follow him on YouTube, but fuck, dude, he's funny. But he definitely does like right to the edge of like, what's the most amount of politically incorrect you can be and not get canceled. And he was like right on that cusp of that, I felt. So it was pretty funny. So go ahead and give him 5 JDs for this week. What about you, Matt? Did you have a chance to watch the chicken bake or can get to the podcast?
I did watch the chicken bake. Well, mostly listened to it, but it was playing on my phone while I was driving home from work today. I wanted to make sure that I caught that, but I had the holiday off on Monday, perks of being a government worker, and yeah, I was just doing stuff around the house, and like as soon as I remembered that it was Mike Isertel on there, I burned through the whole episode, and the only times that I paused it was for me to run around the house frantically to look for my wife to recount in a less funny way the thing that Dr. Mike just said because I can't stop laughing. So of course I need to tell it to her, even though it has no context and she's not going to think it's funny. But for me, laughing out loud, I don't know, countless times while listening to it, it's obviously going to have to be a 5 JD power for me.
It's funny that you say that because today I came up from the gym and I was telling Morgan, like my wife, that like, the Juggernaut wanted me to do 4 reps at RPE 10, but I was able to do 5, which pushes it, my max up to this level, blah, blah, blah. And she's just like, She goes, if you ever asked me about this after the fact, I'd have no clue what you're talking about. Right. But it's just the same thing. You got to go find her to be like, yeah, listen to this. And she's like, okay, good boy.
I get the same thing from my wife as well. Like, she definitely cares and like she'll ask, like, oh, what did you squat this week? Even though like she could see it on the social medias or whatever.
Mhm.
And then, but her like friends and family will ask about me because they know that it's kind of like my only like big hobby. And she just basically says, anything over 300 pounds to just like the random person that has never weight trained, it's all just heavy and they can't really comprehend it. She's like, even when you tell me, and she's like, I follow powerlifting, adjacently like quite a bit. And she goes to the meets and kind of understands, but it's all just still heavy. And at some point she's just like, when's it enough? I'm like, that's the thing. It never
It's
is,
never enough. The pursuit never ends.
Never going to stop, they like to say.
Good stuff. So did you guys see all the stolen IG content we had there? There was a couple of different things to touch base on it. The girl that posted the reel that was pretty much identical to the one Tanner posted last week about the the guy walking around the gym saying was something about call me anything but don't call me small or something to that extent, right? So
yeah.
She more or less copied that, like, meet.
The second I saw that.
And then she was like, I guess, was she deleting a bunch of the yeah, were you the first one that commented on her thing? Because Tanner tagged you in Discord asking about it. And then when I went to the post, there was no comments from anyone in crew. And then like 10 minutes later, there was like 20 of them. And she like had some like, thanks for helping me boost my channel. Like just this like snarky response, like just, I don't know. But she definitely deleted a bunch of comments prior to that.
That popped up on my feed and I'm like, oh, Massonomics Army, thinking back to Rep Fitness and everything else. I'm like, we will defend their intellectual property. And I immediately tagged them and said, and I made sure to check the date that she posted and the date that Tanner posted. And I'm like, Massonomics stole the joke from Massonomics, I think I tagged. And then Massonomics replied, oh, that's funny that we posted this same joke with the same format one day prior to yours. And she's like, oh, great minds just think alike. We must have had the same idea. Yeah, okay.
And then she deleted all that, which is some bullshit. So I guess.
Yeah, I definitely screenshotted those comments too,
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. In the long run, doesn't matter because this is the internet. Everybody steals everything because then Big Matt stole something.
Yeah, that's what we were getting to. But I think Tanner was more busting his balls because like the thing he posted didn't even, it was just Billy Madison, but it was a completely different relevant, like it was in a completely different format, I believe. But then Big Matt pulled it down before I had a chance to like get a screenshot of it and do a side by side making fun of him. But no, we all like just bust each other's balls. So I think everyone's stolen a little bit of something from someone.
But like Big Jeff even said it, and like I've always kind of felt it. You know me guys, I'm influencer type where like I don't there's no funny memes anymore. Like they might make your nose laugh, but they're all the same variation of a different thing. It's somebody told me I'm not going to go to the gym, but I am going to go. There's a new person at the gym doing something stupid and I'm going to mock them. Like it's all just variations of the same thing. It's just a matter of finding new ways to put a reaction to the same caption.
Oh my gosh, a sumo deadlift with straps. I
Yeah.
haven't heard anything about that before.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Like, oh, yeah. Better make some inappropriate joke about that. Like, it's just like, stop. Just stop. Memes are memes. That's the point. Meme. What does it mean? Meme is a mimetic. It's a mimetic. It's a repetition of itself over and over again until it loses its meaning of its original context. So, like, but ultimately, that girl got what was coming to her.
I was gonna say like of like the whole like gym memes and everything being outplayed, like the people taking the Sam Sulik clips out of context and then putting stuff over it because he's already like kind of so different from the typical stuff. Those are the ones that I've actually been laughing at lately. And when they take him and they apply it to like non-gym related things in like the captions or the words, like I actually laugh at those ones, but I'm sure that'll burn out in a week or two. It'll be enough, you know.
I think the last one I really laughed at. There's this guy who does a series of like Bible verses from the gym, and he's like, let us all read today, and then it's just Capicola screaming, ah! And it just said unintelligible or untranslated script, and I genuinely laughed out loud at that. Like that was the first time I got all laughed at because you know also Capicoa's just great. Grizzlies top tier.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Keith, you were going to say something, and then you froze.
Oh yeah, yeah. One of my funniest memory about a meme, like years ago, we were working with this older dude. He had like some like it's like a teenage daughter, and so anytime he would reference a meme, he would call it a meme.
Yeah,
Like he would like, and I'm just like, the fuck are you saying? Like, and I had to like teach him that it was meme, not meme. And he was like arguing with me. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm wrong and you're right.
Funny story about the word Mimi is I have a 5-year-old son and he's got my parents and my wife's parents and they all need a name. So my stepmom wanted to be called Mimi, but she spelled it Meme. And I just think after like 5 years now of like her name being Meme, she changed it to Mimi and gave up on the meme spelling for Mimi. So it's just kind of funny being the older generation, not really understanding memes and even the word itself.
to take that one step further, you're from New York, so the opposite side of Ontario, the Windsor, Chatham, Essex County area, where you cross over into Detroit, has a very particular population of French settlers, and in that dialect, you refer to your grandma as Meme.
Hmm.
Okay, but to any other French speaker, that is fat old woman.
Really? That's funny.
so when my kids call my mom or my mother-in-law Meme, and it's so funny because if any Quebecois people are around, they're just like, "What?" And we're like, "From Chatham." They're from Chatham, and they go, "Oh yeah, okay, d'accord." It's that's funny that just is a little extended version of that. Um, let's talk about that Crew Falls meetup. Sorry, I'm just gonna like jump into things. We can only talk about meme for so long.
Nah, Crew Falls is gonna be awesome. I got an anniversary present, a surprise anniversary present, plane ticket to go out to Crew Falls. So that is happening. So Big Keith will be in Sioux Falls for the Crew Falls meetup. Very excited.
Is that both of you or just you?
No, just yeah. I think the anniversary present for itself is a weekend alone, but it's just I wasn't gonna go. I was kind of looking at tickets. I was like, that's a lot of money, and literally spent X amount of money this year. And
Mhm.
we exchanged gifts, and she got a hoodie, and I got a fucking several $100 plane ticket. So I guess I won. But then she gets a nice 3-day weekend alone. So I guess she wins too.
I was technically she won because she got you the better
Yeah.
gift. You won getting
Yep,
the gift,
true.
but then she's gonna go lift all of your weights. She's just gonna go down there. She's gonna make videos dressed like you in the no wine cellar. She's
I
gonna
think
wear
she is
orange
gonna.
socks. She's gonna put on a singlet. She's gonna do your little dance with your hands before you deadlift.
It's pretty sure she's gonna sit on the couch with cats and watch TV for
No.
3 days straight and enjoy the shit out of her life.
Now I'm gonna message her and tell her to do that.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Even if she doesn't actually do it, she's got to make it appear like she is just to
Yeah.
troll you. Or maybe put one plate on the weight tree backwards, the
Oh,
facing in.
see if he notices.
I grabbed some tins today but on the deadlift platform weight tree, and there was like 4 tins in a row that were backwards. I was like, God damn it. I'm like, and then I'm trying to like think back, which fucking asshole was deadlifting here Friday? And I was like, it was like 6 people. So I don't fucking know who I can yell at. But
Did you hear him say tins? Did you hear him say tins?
Tins?
Tins, not tens. Tins.
That one I could go either way, I think.
That's the Gen Jin one, right?
It's definitely like TEN, but I guess T at 10. Let me get some tens.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I do pronounce that, enunciate that with an I a little more than an E.
Do you remember when Big Caden stopped by my house to pick up some gym stuff? And I wasn't here. So I just told my wife, I was like, okay, I left the package for him. Just hand it off to him. And she was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. So she went and dressed like me. She put on like my crew jacket with all this patches, and she put on a Massonomic shirt. And then she did the thing where she like opens her mouth and smiles and points, because I do that in all the pictures. She's like, yeah, I thought since you couldn't be here, I would just be you when you weren't here. So she fucking roasted me, and I think your wife should do that.
Oh yeah.
What are wives for if they're not going to roast us? That's my wife's favorite hobby, is making fun of me, and I love it. I'm here for it.
It's a good hobby.
Any chance either you guys are gonna do a surprise? Any chance either you were gonna do a Crew Falls surprise drop in?
No, not a chance.
No. When was it in the fall?
December 9th.
December 9th.
Oh yeah,
we know you're gonna be a tree stand for the next 4 months, Matt. We all know that.
Until New Year's, basically. Yeah.
I was gonna say, Matt, if you have nothing to do December 9th, I have a meet here in Burlington, which is close to Toronto. So if you're not doing anything,
I don't think I can come into Canada. I let my enhanced license expire. I had one when I was in college because I went to Niagara University, which is like on the gorge, like the Niagara River. So we could like walk over to what is that? The island or the hill? What do you know what that's called, Joey? Right there, like the touristy area. They have
Niagara. I was there. I was just there. I want to say Niagara on the Falls, but that's clearly not it.
Yeah, that might be adjacent.
A little too on the nose. That's a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
Niagara on the Falls.
Is it on the Falls? Yeah,
is Niagara in the name?
Yes.
Clifton Hill. That's it.
There it is. Yeah. It's got all the corny shit up on the hill.
Yeah. Boston Pizza. That's the only time I've ever been to a Boston Pizza is on Clifton Hill.
And that's the worst Boston pizza.
Overrated.
Yeah, well, if you go to that one, for sure. We went to the Rainforest Cafe last time we were there, and that was trash.
Fun for the kids.
What he meant to say was unpaid.
Yes, it was definitely unpaid. Well, no, I paid a lot. Lot.
Oh, yeah, you will.
And $120 for some microwave food. Like,
ugh.
Speaking of getting pissed at things, hey, guys, let's jump into what's grinding my knurling this week.
Now, and this is a Joey original segment, right?
Yeah, I totally made this up with the help of Big Caden to get the name. I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is the benefit of not listening to the back catalog, is everything's new to me. So I think some people are kind of missing the point of what I want to do here. The idea is to give us a pet peeve and let us rant about it. And I do appreciate everybody engaging with the post, but some of you are giving me like the thing that happened to you specifically, and I don't know how to react to that. So I appreciate everybody's feedback, but some of this stuff is so utterly specific that I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to embarrass it because there's actually more than one. But so I'm going to pick 3 today, maybe only 2. And I want to hear everybody kind of see if this pisses them off as much as it's pissing everybody else off. So Matt, you have a home gym.
Yes, currently sitting in it.
Cool. Having the room for more equipment, but being cheap and not buying it. Matt's raising his hand.
I don't know about being cheap, but it's just like, there's only so much like fitness related money that you can justify, whether you supplements, if you're into that, like home gym equipment. A big expense for me right now is the wall of powerlifting gear, being a geared powerlifter. So this year I haven't really purchased a ton of things in the gym. Far less than previous years since I've had my home gym, because the money has gone into squat suits and bench shirts. So if I stopped buying that stuff and took all that money, I could buy more equipment, and I certainly have the room. So eventually we'll expand.
I'm in a particular area where I don't have the room, and that's good because I probably would spend the money.
Mm-hmm. So when I didn't have the room, like I just recently built this house and everything, and like designed it with a basement gym in mind and everything. And while we were building, because we did a ton of the work ourselves, my wife and I built like half this house, just her and I together. We had stayed with her parents for like a year and a half, and their house was not a ranch, so the basement was smaller, and they had all their own stuff. So Matt's home gym was the area of 2 stall mats, and that's all I had. I had a half rack squat stand, and then I deadlifted in front of it and a flat bench. The only thing that I could do at that time that wouldn't really take up space is just get or fabricate specialty bars and then just lay them all on my spotter arms. And then when I would lift, I'd put them to the side because they didn't really add to the overall footprint. So if I was in your situation, Joey, I would just be buying all the barbells I wanted because they don't really take up room.
I want a deadlift bar. And because there's also not a lot that like I think if somebody offered me, I would say no, I don't have the room, but like a deadlift bar was what I would want.
Have you been scanning the used market? Because you can get lucky. I recently got a Texas deadlift bar for $60 this year. That was one of my few equipment purchases. It was completely rusted, and it just took maybe half an hour of elbow grease.
Is that the one I sent you, I think?
No, I found this one, like, it was close to your house, Keith, actually. I think maybe near Brockport on Route 31, like on the way, like the way I would drive to come to your gym.
I swear I sent you that. Like, maybe I didn't. But yeah, no, I remember seeing that. It was complete rusted, locked up. And,
I picked, and
a little 3-in-1 and a brush. Probably fix that right up. Yep. All right. Looks like Keith has nothing to contribute on this one. So
what was the initial? Because like it pisses me off. So was it that someone's upset that they have this, that they don't have the money, or because they're upset with themselves for being cheap? I didn't understand how it was worded.
I don't know. Having the room for more equipment, but being cheap and not buying it.
And so I would say that if I'm in the person that made that statement, that pisses me off if there's people out there that do that. If we look at it like that, like I wish I had twice the amount of space because I have $10,000 that I drop on more gym equipment fucking tomorrow if I had another 1,000 square foot of space. So it depends on how you look at it. But yes, that would piss me off if there are people out there that have the space and won't fill it up with gym equipment because they're cheap. But hey, who am I to judge what you do with your own money? But me personally, if I had more space, I would have $10,000 less money in the bank.
All right, next one. And this one, I drive a lot. Probably like not as much as you maybe, Keith, but like I drive a lot and I hate people. People in a full drive-through on their phone and not pulling forward when it's their turn. Now I'm gonna say people on their phone while they're driving in general. Cut it out. Cut it out. Like, do you know how many times just on my own street, because I live on a country road, you'll see some dummy slowly drifting into the oncoming lane that I'm in because they're staring at their phone while they're driving. It happens like once or twice a week. And you just honk their horn, and then one day I'm going to do that. I just give them a quick honk, and one day I'm going to do that. They're going to overcompensate and end up in the ditch, and I don't care. Like, don't. It's against the law for a reason. You know, I'm not one to always like be that laws are justified all the time, but that one, you hurt a lot of people when you're doing that. My kids are in the car, and you're just drifting into oncoming traffic. So that one, yeah, that one definitely get off your phone if you're driving. Get a dashboard thing where you can plug your phone in and see it from there or something. But if you're doing that thing where you're staring down at your phone, drive off the road. Get out of my way.
I think people are just like addicted to like you see them at the red lights and they're on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or something like they can't separate like they've got that dopamine addiction where like if they just supplemented that by doing what I do and listening to the Massonomics podcast every time they're in the truck or another podcast, you're stimulated enough because you're more engaged than listening to just radio and songs you've heard 1,000 times, but you're not like it doesn't require your eyeballs so you can pay attention to what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
So I have a slight adjacent one to this to carry on to what grinds my neural right now. People that fucking won't pull up at a red light. They like to give a car and a half, 2 car lengths worth of fucking space between the two vehicles. So there's where that fucks me, and my reasoning of that is I'm trying to make a left-hand turn and get into the left-hand lane, and you're fucking sitting 2 car lengths back from the car in front of you, and you're blocking me making my left-hand turn to get into that lane, which has a fucking green light, and I could fucking be home right now. But you're selfish fucking ass.
Hey.
Who is it because they think there's an apocalypse and they want to be able to fucking zigzag out of traffic or something? Like, why the fuck aren't you 1/2 car length max?
No,
fucking red light?
I fully disagree with you there.
That's
I'm gonna
fine,
go.
but
I'm gonna go 1 car length. Okay, not 1/2,
one-
because your emergency does not constitute a threat to my safety. So I have zero patience for that concept. I'm staying a car length behind because if somebody rear ends me, I don't want to rear end that dummy. Okay. Also, three other things. You never know what's going to happen. 3 other things. And I can tell you right now, I saw a TikTok where somebody explained this exact shit. Truck goes through an intersection, hits a pothole, and a sinkhole forms under that truck. The car that was behind it left enough room that it was able to stop. If it hadn't, it would have been in that sinkhole too. Second, carjackings. Doesn't happen a lot up here, but I know it's happening a lot down there. If you are far enough behind that car when they go to stop, block you in, and get out of the car to come and steal your car, if you've left a route car length behind, you can get away from them. And the third one, I think it was the rear end thing. That if some dummy rear ends you, you're not going to hit the person in front of you because then you're still at fault for parking too close to them. So I will say, as much as it bothers you, I am a safe driver. I give a car length every time.
I guess I'm thinking more.
Thank you, Matt.
I have to like register a car length versus I'll have to evaluate next time. Like there's a specific turn near my house that impedes me from getting home on time most of the time. I'm gonna have to evaluate if it's more than a car length. If I'm generalizing that it's multiple car lengths, or if it is exactly a car length. Because
I think you're more focused on the inconvenience of you getting into the left lane. So you're exaggerating the space that they're leaving.
But it also means only half the cars are going to get to go through the fucking green light on time, and then you get all these assholes that fucking run red lights. If you fucking enter an intersection when it's already red, I'm honking my horn at you, flipping you off, and fucking gunning it. And if you fucking hit me, fuck you. Yeah, I hate fucking people that run red lights because they think it's just their fucking turn.
I've been waiting, so therefore the rules don't apply to me. Oh, I see it all the time.
That gets me. Oh, like when people are making the left-hand turn and it's fucking been red for like 5 seconds and they're still going. And I just fucking freak out. I have a green light. I'm fucking going. Fuck you. Like you're stuck in the middle of the intersection now. The person behind me might let you through, but I'm fucking not. I've done that a time or two, but the wife didn't like it, so I can't do it with her in the car.
Around here, we have a little bit of a plague of overly aggressive drivers who speed through left lanes, blow through red lights, and are a little bit all over the road. And they happen to be mostly the white plates with the blue writing in the Niagara Falls, USA area.
Yep.
They tend to, I don't know what it is, but they come over here and just probably because you're in they're over shopping trying to get their 17 gallons of milk and a full suitcase load of clothing to smuggle back over at half the price of what it is over there.
Have you driven up here?
It has been a very long time.
I was in New York. I was in New York really recently, and I'm going to tell you, probably that they're stupid and not malicious. Your lights over across New York are very confusing. Here, our lights hang by a pole. They're yellow. You can see them from far away. They have lights that adjust to the sunlight. They're very different to the ones that hang like yours do from a wire. But you guys also have a light next to a light, and one is for this one is for that. And that's very confusing. I would say the first time I drove in New York, I probably ran a red because I didn't know that red was for me. I'm going to say probably. I don't think I did, but like I remember distinctly going like, I don't know if that's my red or not, so I don't know what to do. And then the car behind me was like, fucking go. So I went, but like, I'm going to
You're
say
used to what you're used to, you know?
And also though, you are right. The people from Ontario are damn idiots because they drive badly up here too.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's the type of person that like comes over to Niagara Falls to go shopping on the weekends that is the problem more so than the fact that they're from Ontario, you know what I mean, or what, but
Yeah. Causation, not correlation. No,
essentially, yeah.
the lights down there are confusing to us because we're not used to them.
Mhm.
But I mean, pull over and Google it. Like, fucking calm down. Like, that doesn't mean go. That means slow down and drive with caution if you don't understand the laws of the road.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
doesn't help sometimes for me is like the fucking road. It'll automatically turn into a right hand only lane, like without any like warning. So I'm just like in the lane, and then it's like, oh, I can't keep going straight down this fucking road. I'm in a right only now lane. Yet there's no fucking lines on the road anymore because they're completely eroded. So this is fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm terrible at driving anywhere outside of my normal operating area, which is not very large. So, like, when the wife and I traveled to Aberdeen this summer, like, in that side of South Dakota, it was a breeze because everything was straight and like there was no issues. But as soon as we got into driving, like after the meet that was like crooked and all over the place, like I am beyond nervous. Like, where am I going? I miss my turns. Like, I don't like that feeling of not knowing or being familiar with the road infrastructure, especially in different states where their signage and their traffic lights and everything are different.
All right. Last but not least, this is the one that fucking irks me. Okay. People FaceTiming, and I'm going to say, or phone calling in public on speakerphone.
No, 100% the shittiest, worst thing.
I'm going to tell you, when I went to the Fergus Highland Festival games, okay, I found a really good seat. There was nobody sitting in front of me. My kid could sit next to me without disturbing anybody. I found the prime seat. Doesn't this fucking lady, or this lady fuck, or whatever you want to call it, sit next to me? She's got her FaceTime going, right? And she's holding it up for her friend to watch the Highland Games from home. And she's yelling into the phone as she's doing it. I've never in my life said something to somebody, like, I would never say something. But the look that I can give human beings when they are being disruptful to the public sphere is generally pretty unnerving to strangers. I made that lady move. Like, I just stared lasers through her, and not at her phone, directly at her face, because you are making this so much harder for everybody around you. Where I work, I see it all the time too. There's people walking, talking into the bottom of their phone, screaming, and they've got it on speaker into the ear too. Like, nobody wants to hear this shit. Remember back in pre-COVID when people would blast music on their phone on the bus? Like back before I drove, I'd sit on the bus and there'd just be some jackass sitting there blasting. I don't even care what kind of music it is. It's disruptive. I don't care if I like the song. If I can hear you over my headphones, there's a problem. But it all just comes down to the fact that people are unaware of their role and space within public spheres because now everybody seems to have forgotten that, there is a space that exists around, and that includes auditory and visual and mental, not just physical, that you are now in and interrupting. And I think that's maybe why they put that one in there, is because I think I've touched on this before. It's just like you just need to be aware that like everything you do, when you chew with your mouth open, you are disrupting the public sphere.
I could go either way on that topic because like the in public, like at the grocery store and things like that, I find very annoying. But like working in blue collar, like when I'm making work calls or I'm talking to the boss or a coworker on the job, we might actively be working on something. And then I'm like in a drop ceiling and my phone's on speakerphone sitting in the ceiling or in like the pocket of my shirt while I'm working. So I am guilty of that when I'm at work. I do not do that when I'm not at work or in a public setting. It's just like I don't know if it's just a trades thing. If you do that, Keith, like if your boss or a coworker,
I think that's apples to oranges, though. Like doing shit like that at work, that's a completely different animal. If you're not, as long as you're not doing. I had some fucking douche my wife and I were out back a few months ago, and this fucking lady is in the booth next to us on fucking speakerphone, or I think she was on a Skype call or something. But it was just like a half hour long, like she was just on Skype with someone, and I could he had birds in the background of his or something, like actual physical birds just fucking chirping, and I'm trying to like eat fucking dinner, and we eat dinner pretty early. It's like 4:30, 5 o'clock or something. We like to beat the crowd when we go out sometimes, and it was a very quiet restaurant to begin with, and this fucking lady just has the audacity to just have her phone on max volume, fucking speakerphone right next to us for like the entire dinner. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, huge pet peeve.
One thing that has changed my life is I now wear headphones, like the bone conducting headphones, all day at work. And if I'm on my personal phone making calls or anything, I always have these in, and then I can answer phone calls from my Apple Watch or whatever, and then still hear other people around me, be situationally aware and not ignorant, and like, but then not subject everybody to my noise. So, I think they need to be more widely spread used because I also hate the people with their AirPods in all the time and you're trying to talk to them or communicate or anything, and they're just on a different planet. Like that's equally annoying to me as the people on speakerphone.
Yep. I'm one of the people on my own planet. I like my noise canceling headphones, but I think we've all, like, if you had to guess it about me, I'm also always perfectly aware of my surroundings, right? Like I check my blind spot if I'm like crossing aisles at Costco just to make sure I'm not cutting across and knocking somebody over, right? Like I'm always, if I'm not auditorily aware, I try to be visually aware of the of everything around me. But that's cochlear. So those are the cochlear is what you wear.
They're bone conducting, whatever. They go around, they sit in front of it, and also great. Like not even just phone calls, like people that sit there and watch TikTok with the sound on, like around other
That's
people.
Fucking annoying.
Oh, and then it's like the same
in the bathroom. Like you're going to take a leak and you can hear somebody from the stall watching dancing ladies on TikTok.
That's a good one.
I was gonna say, it's the thirst trap videos because you just hear the same songs over and over. And it's like, I know you're in there pooping.
I wouldn't know what songs those are. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. We're just assuming, making generalizations, but yeah. So I can if I want to look at Instagram and every third lifting video is the same TikTok sound or death metal or whatever. I'm not disturbing my coworkers while I consume way too much powerlifting all day.
Yeah, those cochlear implants are really fun. And here's a hack for you. You have an iPhone?
I do.
Try out Live Listen.
Live listen.
Yeah, so you can pair live listen to your headphones, and what it'll do is you can put your microphone or your phone somewhere within shot of your earphones, and it'll turn into an omnidirectional microphone and pick up all the sounds in the room.
Oh, I'm gonna do that with my kid when he's like locked himself in his room, and I want to hear what he's mumbling under his breath
Yeah.
when he got to time out or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be funny. I'm gonna try that.
It does have nefarious purposes where, like, obviously, like, you can hear what people are saying about you, but like that's weird. But also, like, it's really cool for people that use the cochlear implants because for accessibility. So, like, if people have those implants and they can't hear normally, you want to be in a meeting, put your phone in the center of the table, tell everybody this phone is hearing you for me. It's pretty cool. Well,
dig it.
Let's get a sponsor read going. I worked up a sweat in that. I want to thank you guys. That was really fun. I worked up a sweat getting all mad about shit. So great work, crew. We got a sponsor read. Matt, I think you got something you wanted to do for us today.
Lay it on us, buddy.
Yes, absolutely. What I'd like to do is I'd like to tell you about the Massonomics podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing, as they call it, but it's not about nothing. It's about a community, I think. It has brought the three of us here together tonight, all the crew and everybody that we've met on Discord. And for those of you training in a home gym, you got entertainment when you listen to the podcast. When you're done lifting and you're ready to hang out, you can watch the Massonomics YouTube videos. Go check out the chicken bake video that just came out this week with Dr. Mike Israetel. You've got home gym safety products. You know, my beloved Monster right here. There's no worries of it spilling or anything. And my drink spotter light. I have my original drink spotter attached to my rack over there, keeping my sacred large can of White Monster proudly on display at all times. Check out their apparel store, massonomics.com. New drop just came out, you know, within a week of when you'll be hearing this episode. Check out all the new and the returning favorite items in that drop. And if there's no other way that you want to support them, but just give them your money, do massonomics.com/join and join the crew. And then you can be a part of this awesome podcast or meeting all the other awesome friends on Discord. So Massonomics crew for life.
Well done. That was awesome.
Good ad read.
That was one of the better, like, off the cuff, like, you just for the list. I didn't see him reading off of a sheet of paper or another screen. That was, like, you know, off the top of his head. That was money. Good job, buddy.
Zero forethought. I just kept on rambling. If there's one thing I can do, I can talk. So we're gonna let it rip.
There you go.
All right, let's get our guest on the horn. Kick out all these viewers.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a plan.
Who is it tonight?
All right.
It's Big Matt.
It's Big Matt Cesney. It's Big Matt Cesney. Yeah.
That one. Okay. One of the Mets.
He pronounced it right.
That's a thing because my last name is such a damn nightmare that, like, I made it a point to try and learn how to say people's names.
Yeah, you almost have like the yin and yang to my last name because yours is, pronounce it for me, Joey, so I don't do it wrong.
Miechko.
Okay. It's not like an S sound in there. Is it a silent S? Or?
If you're doing it in English, you would say Malesko.
Yeah, that's what your name is to me.
But in Polish, it's Miechko.
Okay, but that Malesko, you're getting the S sound from the Z, where I have the S sound I have the S letter that sounds like a Z sound. So, you know, it's not confusing at all. We love English.
Yeah, it's fun that I got there. It's a weird thing because you know, where I work with people and people of all, you know, races and creeds, and it's always interesting that, like, I'll nail your Punjabi name. I will nail your Russian name. I will nail your German name and not be able to tell you what any of it means, but I went and phonetically learned how to say this shit. So it's really fun that I got Cesney right. There is one thing I want to do before we get going too far into this. I just want to put this on.
Oh, there we go. Bills Mafia. You're making Big Jen very happy right now. It's a proud mom moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You got any plastic cables to go with that?
No, I'm going to take this off too because it's interfering with my headphones. But yeah, I went to a game a little while ago, and I just thought on the way there I was going like, "Fuck, I wonder if Big Matt's going to be here." So
I do love football. I love football very much. I played when I was younger and everything, but like there comes a certain point in time, and it's usually October 1st, where I can option A is sit and watch TV and watch other grown men do something, or option B, I myself can go participate in one of my hobbies that I love and am passionate about myself. So I usually choose to do something as opposed to watching other people do something. Nothing against the Bills. I absolutely love them and everything. But, given the choice between watching TV or being active and out of the house, I'm going to choose the second one every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll usually take the outside. I don't watch football that much. I also have a Blue Jays fan chain because I was just like, I'm gonna start just collecting fan chains. Like when I go to a game, I'm just gonna start collecting them. The only one I didn't get is I went to an Argonauts game a little while ago, but we were in the C suites, so I couldn't get to the merch table. But yeah, I think that's the thing. I'm just gonna start collecting fan chains for no reason.
So, how did you feel about your experience going to a Bills game in person? Because that is completely different than just watching the Bills play on TV.
So I didn't get the full experience. I'm gonna go with my brother because my brother's Bills Mafia, and that will probably get me a better experience. So
Mm-hmm.
we went because my company like hired a party organizer. So the big advertising was like, "Oh, we're gonna come, we're gonna have tailgating, and you guys are gonna get drinks, and you guys are gonna go have fun at the game." And their tailgating had security. Like it was a big, like
Yeah.
heated tent with beer at 10 a.m. and a fully catered barbecue. And like the people I was with, I had just met that day. I was like, yeah, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
staying here. Like I'm going out to see what tailgating looks like. But by the time like where we were, by the time you walked to where the real shit was going, you were gone for like an hour, and we just didn't have that kind of time. So I didn't get the full experience, but going to the game was fun as shit.
Right. Well, you might not necessarily want to get involved in too much nonsense if you're affiliated with your job and you
True,
to be
true.
seen in that environment or
Yeah.
when they're like, Joey, why can't you come to work on Monday? And it's because you dove off of a camper onto a folding table and fractured your spine. You don't want to do it at a company affiliated function.
Little known fact, that would not be the first time I have jumped off of something high and gone through a table.
Perfect. So you're prepared.
I had a lot of backyard wrestling as a kid.
My office has been trying to grow the last month or so, well, a couple of months. So we've been interviewing fucking people left and right. And one kid they extended a job offer to, and he was like, "Okay, that's great, but I'm gonna go to every Bills game on every Sunday and Monday and Thursday that they play, and I might be not into work the next day. And is that going to be a problem?" And so he's like, "Yeah, it's going to be a big fucking problem. Like he had just like no show ever, and then like, and I'm probably going to be really drunk the day before. So I'll be like, kind of like, I don't know if he actually said these words verbatim, but like my boss kind of like sussed it out. I was like, yeah, you can't just like stagger in and like on a Monday, we need you tip top shape. So I need to say he did not take the job offer once he kind of learned that we weren't going to fucking cater to his Bills Mafia schedule.
Obviously.
No, I was blown away. I was like, oh, well, it's weird.
Yeah, I can't work any Bills games. Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Right.
Well, okay. That killed more time than it should have. Uh, Matt, what brought you to Massonomics, buddy?
So I've heard you guys ask this question, so I kind of did a little research because I couldn't honestly remember. Like, I know there was a time and when I start listening to it and when I didn't, so I kind of had to do some backtracking in my life to figure it out. Um, so like a lot of people, home gym thing kind of started with the COVID. Homemade wooden rack in the basement and everything, and my wife and I were completely flipping our last house then too. Not sure what to do. We were just had a lot of time at home, and right before the lockdown came, we both had old cell phones. I made the poor mistake for the previous phone of having an Android, and then I decided to get an iPhone again. So that gave me Apple Podcasts. So then I started listening to podcasts because we had a ton of downtime, and then very into lifting already, and I don't remember how I found Massonomics. I think I followed their page on Instagram for the memes and then learned about the podcast after. And then it was like, right around that March 2020 when I had Apple Podcasts again, where I started listening to their podcasts. And as I went through my backlog, I've been as far back as the Tanner sleep study episode, which was a big deal for me at the time, finding out I had sleep apnea and stuff. So kind of like the thing you love meets like the other things going on in your life and everything. So that kind of like sucked me in. And then I think I cherry picked on guests for a while and then just slowly began like from that point around the upper 190s. I think going forward, I've listened to every episode.
Nice. Sounds like you and I got in about the same time. So that was pretty cool. So you are, well, usually we always ask everyone that was at the Live Hard, Live Easy what their favorite part of the weekend is and all that. But kind of done that for like 10 episodes in a row. So you coming back for 2024? Nice. There we go. That's all we needed to know.
I've talked to my wife. I would definitely like to. She has basically put one stipulation on me, and that we have this newish house, and we got rid of most of our old furniture because it was all hand-me-down stuff and everything, and just we didn't want the old stuff in the nice new house. So right now we don't really have dressers, and she wants nice Amish handmade dressers. So like Matt's got to work a lot of overtime and take the tax return, buy mama some nice wooden dressers, and then she's like, yes, we'll go to Aberdeen again next year. I think it probably won't be as big of a trip for us, which I won't rant about our 10 days or whatever it was, but probably like a Thursday afternoon to like Monday morning long weekend would definitely be within the realm of possibilities. So
That's good. That sounds good. Yeah, for everyone that doesn't know, Matt did basically celebrated his honeymoon during the Live Hard, Live Easy Classic since they were out in the Midwest, and they just kind of took advantage and literally drove all over the fucking country for 5 or 6 days, and so that was what he was referencing there. But yeah, I don't think you guys need to do that again because that probably cost you a pretty penny and a lot of wheel time that you probably were like, wow, that could have flown to a couple of these places.
You see, no, I wouldn't have flown because my wife and I we love to drive together.
Okay.
Not to rant too much, I'll keep it short, but we go to the hunting cabin as a family all fall long, and it's about 125-mile-an-hour drive. Hopefully, our son's sleeping in the back, and then my wife and I will either pick a podcast that we both like, or an audiobook, and her and I just in the truck, in the car, whatever, driving, listening to something that we both enjoy. Neither of us could really be happier. So,
Where's the honey cabin at? It's got to be in the south, right?
so it's in Steuben,
Like southern tier.
Steuben County. So, if I was to take throughways there, I would get on the 390, like right by you, Keith, and then take that all the way to Dansville. I'm not sure if you've ever been there, but it's pretty much straight south on.
Okay, so it's like 45 minutes south of me then, but it takes you longer because you're all the way out in Buffalo-ish. Makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I was like, it definitely can't be north.
I hope somebody takes this and puts it over the Californians from Saturday Night Live. Because as you're saying, well, if I was to take the through routes, I would do these roads, and that's what they did in the Californians. Do you remember that skit?
No.
What?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's a classic where they all wore blonde wigs and spoke with California accents, and they led like nobody could keep a straight face. Like everybody corpsed during that skit. If you get a chance, it's the only reason it's worth watching is watching every single cast member corpse, including the special guests, because they're like, they would just do that, what are you doing here? Like stupid Californian accents. And we're like, why don't you leave and go down the I-90 and make a right onto Hollywood? And like, just, okay, yeah. It was funny that you did that, and my brain said it because it was Saturday Night Live week on the Discord. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. Yeah.
Oh, also watch that skit.
I will. Normally we have like, I'm not like a big SNL person. My wife's watched it a little bit. And there's like one thing, and it's the Tom Hanks, David Pumpkins that we quote that every single day in some way or another. Like a line from that skit comes up, and my wife, and then like we'll be like quoting. I think it's Keenan Thompson's got a line in there. It's 100 floors of frights. They're not all going to be winners. And my wife and I say that like casually to people who have no idea what we're talking about. And then like, we got to get into the whole bit. And it's basically just like, oh, what are you going to do? Or the way she goes, like, it's just, that's our saying that we've taken from SNL. And that's the only thing that I've latched onto from them at all.
Oh yeah, Californians will at least hopefully make you giggle just because it's not a funny skit, but nobody can keep a straight face while they're doing it. All right, sorry to interrupt, Keith. Ask more questions. I like dominated the first half of this podcast, and I'm sorry. I've never talked to Matt like in this depth before, so I wanted to.
So, what's your favorite piece of homemade home gym equipment, Matt? If anyone doesn't, I'm not familiar. Matt is okay. So, what's your technical job title? I know you as a plumber slash pipe fitter slash welder slash jack of all trades. So, with all those skills, you're able to make a whole bunch of cool shit for your home gym. But anything you want to tell the people about your job or what you've made for the gym?
Well, yeah, basically I work maintenance for a state university, and then sometimes like to practice, keep up on my welding skills with the excess and scrap materials. So I kind of make some little projects, keep the skills sharp. We'll go with that. I'm just looking around because it's hard to say what I've got things that are favorites for different reasons.
There's like a quarter of your gym is homemade, isn't it?
There is a fair bit.
Like out of like state like you have more than 5 objects that you made yourself.
Oh yeah, like just in eyesight right now. Like I made a deadlift jack. I use that every week. Nothing crazy. Plyo boxes, like a deadlift band platform. I've made my own bar at band storage. Probably my favorite thing is I made my own custom arch bannerway for my Rogue power rack. I'm not sure if they have like the arches for the Monster Light ones, but that's the one I have. And I just kind of looked at how they made them and used a CNC plasma table to cut out weak things break, a saying from West Side, and it's painted black, backed with stainless steel for like the letters kind of pop. I used like old timey copper rivets, and like the whole thing just kind of cool. And I look at that, and it's just kind of like your little inspiration, like how you've got a lot of like your banners and stuff around the gym, Keith. Like I'm sure you have certain ones where you look at those couple words and they just kind of resonate with you. So
absolutely,
yeah. That one's probably my favorite, although the least functional. It makes me happy, and it's in the most of my lifting videos can be seen at least above me squatting. So,
yeah, I love shit like that. Anything that adds that 1% of motivation and happiness, and just like I'm at home when I see this, archway, like shit like that is like you have to have those little tweaks in your gym to really like just appreciate it. So I fully appreciate that. So this is something we kind of glazed over. We a little missed it. Where are people going to find you on Instagram, Matt? Just in case anyone's looking for you, buddy.
Yeah, it's just my name, M, my first initial, and then SESNIE. No underscores or anything like that. Just M Sesney. I do have a gym Instagram page, but it's not really active because I haven't been really adding a ton of things or having a lot of guests. But that one I think is linked in my bio. If not, it's the Qui-Gon Gym. I kind of have a Star Wars theme going on down here too, and that's all one word with no spaces either. So
nice. So I do have one last question about the house, a little bit here. So is the grass growing outside yet? Do you have any grass in your front yard?
I have clover because clover has grown in much better than grass in the terrible soil that I have because I did not want to put topsoil on my entire yard. So we have lush clover and it looks beautiful and it's good for the bees. And as long as I cut it before like we have a lot of people over, so like the flowers are knocked down, then we don't have a ton of bees like in the grass. And yeah, it looks great all summer long. It doesn't go brown. And yeah. So I got that going for me, Keith.
That that's great.
Nice. Yeah. Last time we talked, it was a work in progress.
No, keep it as clover. Clover stays green, stays longer, is better for the environment, is better for the pollinators, and has less work than grass. Like,
all of those things.
Keep it. Yeah, you've got that the native plant species going there because grass technically is intrusive, right? So
Right. And I live like, well, where my house is now used to be a cornfield. We're kind of like in a somewhat rural area, not too far outside of a few cities. So, like, it's not my lawn's greener than the neighbors, or I have these weeds and don't. Like, there's none of the lawn
no,
pissing matches around here, which is phenomenal.
good. Yeah, that's leave that to my dad. It's none of my
Yeah,
business.
they can keep all the fertilizer they want. I don't need it.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. I've got one here because I'm reading through the notes. I'm reading again through the notes. I know the answer to this, but I want to hear your answer to this. What's better, the Niagara Falls US side or the Canadian side?
Oh, it's absolutely the Canadian side.
Whoopee.
Like, other than the fact that it's in Canada and there's certain
Just
aspects of Canada that are just like things being more expensive, the Looney Tune money, but like still like Canada has done such a good job of making it an actual tourist destination, a wonder of the world. I don't know if
hmm
it still technically is or not, where like the US side, the views are nowhere near as good unless you do like the Maid of the Mist or the Cave of the Winds. But like the park the views are nowhere as good. You can't see the Horseshoe Falls as well, and then you come like 1.5 blocks into the city, not even, and you are in the ghetto. It's
Yep.
like small
Yeah, I
town
noticed.
Detroit.
yeah, Niagara Falls is fucking trashy, dude.
I
Per
noticed.
capita, the crime rate per capita is top 10 in the entire nation in Niagara Falls. It is not a place you want to be if you don't have to, but we have like one nice state park or whatever in the falls, and then we have an outlets mall where Canadians and tourists love to shop at discounted prices. That's all we got going in Niagara Falls. So I'm glad that I'm in the same county and it's only 20 minutes from me to get to Niagara Falls, but like where I'm at, it's quite rural and far away from all that nonsense.
Yeah, like we were talking earlier, we have Clifton Hills, which is
Hmm.
like um Keith, have you been there? Am I describing something you already know about?
Maybe I haven't been to the Canadian side in
It's
years.
like restaurants and fun houses and haunted houses and arcades and like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we have a
It's got
garden.
a little needle thing too, right? You can go up.
Yeah. You can do zip cord down the falls. You can do the Maid of the Mist. You can go under the falls. And then you go to the US side. You guys have that lookout that goes over the falls that I'm a little jealous about.
Hmm.
Um, but then yeah, literally a casino.
Hmm.
You guys have the river. That river is gorgeous. When you're driving down that little highway along the river, that's a good view. Don't take that for granted. But there's nothing
The lower river is nice. If you're talking about the scenic parkway, like on the gorge, or are you talking about the upper river?
upper river. Yeah.
Oh, see, I think that you're like you're outside the other shit stain of Niagara Falls, which is the landfills and all of the industry right there. So it just smells like chemicals and garbage there.
Yeah. We were on our way to Target and Trader Joe's. So that's the way we went. And
Oh, into Amherst there, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And like no, it's a good looking river, but yeah, definitely better on the Canadian side. Oh, and
Hmm.
about our money, relax. Our money is so much prettier. American money is so ugly. Like everybody jokes about our money is funny because it's all different colors and technically plastic. But like comparing it when I hold your guys' money, it's just all monochrome. Like if I couldn't read numbers, I wouldn't know what I'm holding. But at least with ours, there's like different colors and different designs, and it celebrates our history.
We do have Thomas Jefferson on a legal tender, so I think that beats anything Canadian. I'm sorry, I'm gonna die on that hill.
Yeah, wait till we get Gord Downey, then we'll show you.
So, random question, Matt. As just a fellow New Yorker, you said so you live in the same town slash county as Niagara Falls, but you're kind of out in the boonies. So, does that help you or hurt you on taxes then? Like, do they assess the fact that you are out in the sticks, or are you just lumped in with fucking being in the big ass Niagara Falls, like touristy, high value area?
It's funny you talk about it like that because if I was in the city of Niagara Falls, my taxes would be dirt cheap. I
Okay.
technically live in a town called Pendleton. We moved here out of Wheatfield, which bordered against the city of Niagara Falls, which was also a farming town. Our taxes really couldn't be higher. Niagara County has some of the highest tax rates in the entire country, and our school taxes are through the roof. We have one of the best schools in the area, and I'm happy to pay the taxes to send my son to the best school that he can. So it kind of is what it is. But oh yeah, our taxes are unbelievably high here.
Gotcha. Yeah, that I have the one luxury of I'm technically in the city limits of Rochester, but I'm a stone's throw away from 6 different suburbs that I kind of more associate with than I do the fucking city. So I get a slight tax break by being in the city limits. We don't have kids, so I'm not worried about the fucking school district or anything. But as someone that grew up in West Virginia, where fucking my parents pay $500 a year for a $300,000 house, when I pay fucking 10 times that for a house fucking at half the value. So it's kind of just property tax in general just rubs me the wrong way. And I was curious what you were, not numbers or anything, but I didn't know if living next to the touristy area, if that was a higher, but yeah, now that you say that, Niagara Falls itself, if you take away the tourist aspect, is a fucking shithole. So I do imagine that would be a very low tax bracket.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't we just spend 10 minutes explaining how it's not a tourist attraction and it's trash?
Oh, yeah. So where my last house was, which is only 8 minutes from here, and where my wife's family's lived forever, was in the town of Wheatfield, right by the Niagara Falls Airport, Joey. I'm sure you've driven past that enough. That's at the end of my old street. And that area was actually zoned agricultural, so my taxes were far less there, and I missed that, even though my house used to be a farm field, and all next to my house is all corn right now. Unfortunately, we're not zoned agriculture here, so we don't get that tax break.
Do you have sewers?
Nope. We are 320 feet away from sewer, and I have septic. And being a plumber, that irked me.
And you're still getting nailed for that. Yeah, where we are, we're septic, and they're slowly expanding the boundary of the city, and so they got the other rural side around the other side of the city. And what they do is they change the postal code. So up here in my area, if you have an L0R postal code, you're still considered rural. And then if they change you to an L8 or an L7, then that's in the city. So I know all these people that live up in a town called Waterdown and Flamborough. And yeah, these guys, if you ask them their address, they'll give you 2. They give you their address and their fire address. And it's funny when you say fire address to people over 60, because they look at you like, how do you know that phrase? But that's because they've lived out where the mailing address was different than what you would give the fire department if your house was on fire.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then they municipalized all of those people. So they come in and I'm they'll say, oh yeah, here's my postal code, and they'll give me an LOR. And I was like, nope, what's your L8B? And they're like, oh, I forgot about that. And then it's like, well, what did they do? Well, they just raised my taxes. It's like, well, yeah, because now you're in the city. Now you've got to pay for area rating. And I'm waiting for them to get me.
Our only perk is our water bill is darn near negligible here, because typically I think, whatever your water bill is, double it, and that covers your sewer tax or whatever. Yeah. We have no sewer tax out here. Is it worth the cost of me installing a brand new sand filter septic system at my house? I'll probably never make that up in water bill savings in my lifetime, but here we are.
I'm on an aquifer, actually, so we're not attached to the city at all in that sense. And that actually blew yesterday. My neighbor comes over and he goes, I don't have any water. My pump blew. So we ran over to his house, and then the next day, our pump blew. So we're wondering if the aquifer is sending out shockwaves or some bullshit. We don't know, but we'll see.
Do you have to buy all bottled drinking water, or have a water tap? Or
I've got 2 filters downstairs. Got a charcoal and a sediment, and then we also Brita filter. But I buy water bottles for the gym, because I don't want to come up and downstairs every time I want to fill my water. I'll drink 3 500 ml bottles per thing. I'm not going to come up every time I need to fill that.
Does your filters kind of knock got that sulfur smell, or do you not have the sulfur smell?
Yeah, the sulfur smell that we had came from the rod in our hot water tank.
The anode.
Yeah, when we first moved in with my dad, everything smelled, and we were like, dude, you we started just Googling it, asking around. And I said to him, when's the last time you changed the anode? And he went, you don't need to do that. I was like, I think you should. Turned out to be like 10 years or something like that. So we changed it and everything started smelling better immediately. But it was the anode rod. We don't get the sulfur smell from the water. They don't fluoridize our water though. So kind of hurting the kids' teeth and my teeth because I have acid reflux, but the water does not taste as clean as the city tap water.
Mm. Do you have propane out there, or do you have natural gas for like heating and stuff? Are you far enough out?
I want to say we're natural gas. Yeah, I'm not on propane.
Okay, so you don't have to have like a tank. That's convenient because like I always worry, especially like living in cold weather environments. Like we get the lake effect snow. You guys get tons of snow. Like, what if something happens and then like my heat goes out and I don't have fuel for it? Like that's the one thing that's reliable without power is the natural gas still comes no matter what.
Yep.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, sorry, Keith. We hijacked it again for
You're good. So I
rural living, rural talk on the crewcast.
I know a lot about Matt because just for reference, anyone listening, Matt lives 68 minutes from me, give or take. We've he's come over here a couple times to train. I know all that, but so we've known each other for a few years now. But one thing that your wife gave me that kind of threw me off that I didn't know about was some of your nicknames. So the first one, Big Matt number 5, that's pretty easy to ask surmise. There's a shit ton of fucking Big Mats in the Discord, but she wanted me to ask about this one. So you have a lifting alter ego named Jeff. I want to hear about that.
Yeah. So Jeff, I did not come up with Jeff. Jeff was a name that was given to me. I shift into Jeff typically only on Fridays or Sundays when I'm not lifting in my home gym. I lift in somebody else's home gym. I have like a training crew for equipped lifting, which is in a town around the corner from mine. Dan Zano is he's been powerlifting forever. And Steve Decker, who's at all the meets and coaches. There's a bunch of us, a couple of old heads and a couple of us younger guys, and it's at his barn that we train at. And when I first started going there this spring with those guys, old guys and remembering names and everything, it's not necessarily the easiest. So whatever reason, there's other Jeffs that train there. He thought my name was Jeff, and then it just kind of became a bit. And like I don't turn into Jeff unless the squat bar has 5 plates on it or the bench bar has at least 3 plates. So when it starts getting real, that's when I turn into Jeff, and he'll be, if he's running the mono for me, like, come on, Jeff, and I get that. And it was funny, his Dan's wife drove by my house and saw me grilling late at night, and she's like, oh, I drove by and I saw Matt grilling last night. He's like, who are you talking about? And she's like, I saw Jeff grilling at his house last night. And he's like, oh, whose name is Jeff? So,
I love it. I love when the
that's
wives
where
get on
that
the
came
vids.
from.
My name is Jeff.
No, I'm very jealous. You've kind of you got into a good click. Like it's hard, man. It's hard to find a group of dudes that will fucking all set aside 2 or 3 hours, 1 to 2 nights a week to actually lift together. Like I have people over here to train, but we don't lift together. Like we lift in the same room, but like unless you're forced to, like no one's like, hey, we're all benching tonight. Hey, we're all deadlifting tonight. Hey, we're all squatting tonight. Like you guys seem to all be fucking like it's squat night, it's bench night. Like it's there's like 5, 6 of you there doing the same fucking thing. Like that's fun. Like that looks fun to me.
I think it harkens back to like whatever that history, like the golden eras of like equipped lifting, like the whole. We're not so like full like thinking that we're like West Side or anything, but like Fridays is like when they squatted at West Side. We squat heavy on Fridays. It's we've got like 6 guys in the rotation. Most of us are wearing gear, so you just need the help getting in it. The weights are heavier, so spotters and everything. But I mean, we've got middle school kids squatting, and then we go all the way up, like 7, 8 plates on the bar, strip them all off between sets, and someone's changing rack heights, guys are changing plates, we're all changing box heights and everything, and we all train together when we're doing our max effort, and then kind of break off to do our accessories after. So it's really great. It's kind of that rising tide raises all ships. Like You start like working in with guys and they're lifting more than you. It brings you up. And like I've seen, we've got one kid who's he's in soccer right now. He's a sophomore, and he's like 140 pounds, and he's squatting 3 plates on the Buffalo bar wearing a canvas squat suit. Like it's just cool to see. It's the old school kind of mentality, and the same thing goes when we do Sundays in the bench shirts. You can barely get in the thing by yourself, or maybe you can't. You need handoffs, 3-man handoffs and stuff. So we're there for the benefit of each other. If somebody's beat up or they got something going or they can't do the lift, they're going to show up there and they're going to load plates. They're going to run the rack or spot or anything. Even if they're not going to lift there, they're going to be there for your training partners. And it's been the best thing for my training.
That
Yeah, that's
does,
awesome, man. Yeah,
it does sound
really
dope.
enjoyed seeing that on Instagram and Facebook because I'm friends with a couple of those guys you train with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we missed one of Joey's favorites from the top of the list here, so I'll just touch on it real quick. One piece of Massonomics merch you wish you had bought before it went extinct.
Oh, I have to say, like, for me, it's the lift shorts with the real lift logo. I was just putting it off and putting it off, and like I got the curl shorts, I've got the lift silkies, which I know Big Dave up there in North Dakota is beyond jealous of. He's messaged me about them numerous times, a bunch of shirts and everything, but like that is the quintessential Massonomics merch item, and I don't own them, and I don't know if I ever will, you know?
Yeah, I have two.
I have five, so I have two mediums. When I was like 30 pounds lighter, I got two larges, and then I bought an extra large when I was out there recently. So like I'll do the extra large to lounge in. I'll lift in the larges, and then mediums maybe are up for auction, but maybe I'll lose weight, get back into them. I don't know.
I bought some and then I won some from
Nice.
Basement Brandon, and I was like, of course I won something I already have. This is great.
Yeah, you hang on to those keys.
One of the mediums I bought, I think I got on Poshmark for like $12 or something plus shipping. So that was back when I think a blue pair showed up and the black pair showed up, and I snagged a black pair for like half off. And
You don't
yeah, now
you,
those.
you don't want to spend $5,000 for the blue pair?
Yeah, that was. I hope so, that'd be funny. I'm curious who know, because Big Eddie must have like tracked down their account and saw they were in Watertown, New York, which is
Where
2.5 hours from here. So 2.5 hours.
Watertown, New York?
Yeah, New York. So like
I saw Watertown and I thought of Nate last week because he's in Watertown,
yeah, he
North
is.
Dakota.
That threw me off, him talking about Watertown the whole time. Like, what's really weird is like there's, I think so. Just call it America. We have what 20,000 towns in cities, whatever you want to call it. At least a quarter of those repeat, probably.
Yeah.
Like maybe not a quarter. So a tenth, at least a tenth probably repeat because there's like 5 Rochesters. And so there's times I see shit on Marketplace. It says Rochester and I look at it and it's fucking Rochester, Minnesota. And I'm like, well, that doesn't help me. Holy shit, Matt, you're drinking more caffeine. It's fucking 10:15 at night and you just cracked a Diet Coke. And that is not a caffeine-free Diet Coke.
I love Diet Coke. Like,
I do too, but are you pulling an all-nighter? Fuck me. I got to go to bed soon.
I'll be up at 4
drink
a.m. for
caffeine
work
lately.
tomorrow. I like the Tanner saying
Oh,
I'll sleep when I'm dead. Like,
there
I'll
you
work,
go.
12-hour day tomorrow. No problem.
I'm just a little tired all the time.
Bullshit. I know you. You don't work fucking 12-hour days on Fridays. You work fucking 6-hour days on Fridays.
I do leave early. That's another fun fact. To go back to the whole lifting crew and squat night on Fridays. Since I started squatting with them, I have used paid time off every single Friday to make sure I'm there on time or early to squats every week. And a benefit of a government job and having enough vacation time, I will spend every minute of it lifting with my training crew.
Could they make you use PTO even if you're up on other days? Because like, there's no way that you didn't work like over 8 hours the other days of the week, but they make you use PTO to hit 8 on Friday.
So the way my job is, we're kind of like paid annually, like we're salaried out except for outside of our scheduled shift. So my scheduled shift is 8 a.m. to 4:30 Monday through Friday. no matter what, whether I'm there or not, paid time off or me being clocked in, something has to cover that time frame. Anytime I'm punched in
Okay.
outside of that, I am making overtime. So I mean, in theory, they don't encourage it, but I have gone in at 4 a.m., worked till 8 a.m., and then had to go home with my kid sick all day. I made 4 hours of overtime, and then I used 8 hours of sick time to be home with a sick kid and, get paid the overtime, even though I'm only there for 4 hours.
See, that's nice. That's a better deal than well, a lot of people like like this. For example, this week Monday was a holiday. I've worked fucking 10-hour days every day since. I'm not seeing a penny of overtime
Mhm.
because I have to because that 8 hours Monday does not contribute towards my 40 hour of accruing actual overtime. So like I would have to work 41 hours between Tuesday through Friday to get any overtime, and Monday is
Mm.
just 8 hours of vacation. So more often than not, I usually just try to like only work 32 and like 32 hours. But I was short last week, so anything extra I make this week will. I mean, financially, I don't because I don't technically. I'm not forced to use PTO typically. Like my boss is pretty lenient, but like if I don't use it,
Mhm.
I'm just my check's hundreds of dollars short. So I think if I whatever I end with tomorrow, I'll only be like 2 hours short between the 2 weeks, even though it's 6 hours short last week. So,
Right.
that's irrelevant to most people listening. Sorry, we can move on. Let's get into some Star Wars talk. I know
Ooh.
Joey's been waiting all night to talk about fucking Star Wars with you.
I'm not that big of a Star Wars nerd. Like I'm probably like mid range.
Well, I know Matt is. I know
Yeah,
Matt really is. His fucking name is a Star Wars.
8 out of 10 Star Wars nerd. So pretty high, but not like the peak, you know?
yeah. Like, have I played Star Wars Jedi Survivor, both games? Absolutely, all the way through. Have I watched every Disney thing that they've released? Absolutely. But have I watched the Clone Wars animated series? No, I have not. So that definitely takes a notch off my nerd.
I was just talking to Big Eddie
You haven't seen all of Andor. That doesn't. You haven't watched it all.
just today. I was talking to Big Eddie and how he and his wife are watching the Clone Wars now for the first time, and especially with everybody with the new Ahsoka series coming out.
Mhm.
If you have not watched Star Wars Rebels, and I know it was a Disney XD show and it's animated, and some people don't like that, but the storyline in Rebels is phenomenal. All of the characters from the new Ahsoka live action show are the characters and the plot from that animated series, and that series gave us one of the greatest villains in all of Star Wars. And I'm a little bit obsessed with Thrawn. For anybody who doesn't know who he is, he's like the main villain in the new Ahsoka show. He's a general or admiral in the Empire. I'm currently reading the third of a 3-book trilogy all about him, so I kind of nerd out about him really hard. But he's a very interesting character. So I and anybody that I talk to Big Spoon about Star Wars all the time, just about daily. We share a Star Wars meme,
Nice.
and he agrees with me that the third movie is hands down the best one. I don't care what anybody else
Wait,
has to say
wait.
about it; they're
So
wrong.
that would be where
Sixth movie,
Anakin. No, yeah, that would
or you're
technically
to the
be because then it goes. Yeah, it goes
Episode 3,
for. Okay, yep,
Return of the Sith. Like,
yep.
oh wow.
and if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, especially season 7, it will make you appreciate Return of the Sith 10 times more if you watch the
Okay,
last
because
season
I
of the
did
Clone
enjoy
Wars.
that movie.
Hmm.
As much as we all make fun of Jar Jar Binks,
I like Jar
Yeah,
Jar.
you would.
he's fun. Why not? Like,
I'll take Jar Jar or Will Ferrell or any fucking.
Um, no, I don't disagree. And if you're a Star Wars fan and you're shitting on that movie and you're telling me that when he first stands up as Darth Vader and yells no and crushes all of the technology around him, if you didn't get goosebumps, I don't think you're actually a Star Wars fan.
it's
Like,
that for me. And like, I just saw like a thing, and like, I feel like I'm always learning new things where like, in the beginning of the third one when he does that move on Count Dooku and like chops both his hands off. You see him try that exact same lightsaber move if you look close enough on Obi-Wan in the greatest lightsaber battle they ever had, and Obi-Wan being like kind of like I forget what style it is, number 3 or 4, but like more defensive, like totally counters it and it didn't work. And just, all like once you point it out to people and you put the clips side by side, it's like a mind blown, like, we could go deep down all of these rabbit holes.
Okay, so I know, forgive me, crew, for not remembering who we spoke about. I want to say it was 2 weeks ago. I think it was Paul. When we were talking about the power of, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. From the seventh, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth movie, Kylo Ren.
Yes, Kylo Ren, Adam Driver.
Yeah, when I was talking about how powerful Kylo Ren is, and
Mm-hmm.
to that point in the movies, we had never seen a Jedi as powerful as him.
Correct.
We were talking about it, and they talked about him killing Han. Did you hear my theory?
Yes. How you believe that Han committed suicide to get into his head because he knew it was over for him anyway. He's going into the Force or whatever, and that, like you basically said, that like
It was the only way to
he
save him.
created that crack in his head, just in the way.
Yeah, it was the only way to save Kylo Ren.
Which is, again, just like, I feel like those movies, they just took the original trilogy and just like transformed and Disneyed them up, because it's like Darth Vader watching Palpatine almost kill Luke that snaps Darth Vader out of his evil state. You know what I mean? It's I love Star Wars. Those Adam Driver did a great job in his character. It's just the plot that gets me wrong. They could have done much better, but
Has everyone finished Ahsoka or not? I know. Are you up to date on it, Joey?
Is it done?
Yeah.
Yes, then I finished it. Yeah,
okay.
Then I finished it.
So, spoiler alert, we'll talk about that for a few minutes. So if anyone is planning on watching that or has not watched it yet and intends to, just skip like 3 minutes or so. So what's everyone's take on that and how that ended? I guess the biggest thing I want to talk about maybe is the Anakin thing, because that kind of threw me for a loop, because like, was he her mentor when he was still Anakin or when he was fucking Darth Vader? Because like
when he was Anakin.
Yes.
Okay, because I remember like the last movie, I don't remember him having a fucking like a apprentice before he went ape shit and his fucking wife died and he fucking I don't, was this all like behind the scenes shit in the cartoons that I have to go watch?
Briefly, he got Ahsoka as a Padawan, was resistant to her, came around. They were together all through the Clone Wars until there was, we'll call it, some political drama in the Jedi Order.
But that's in none of the movies. That's all backstory, books, and the animated series. Okay.
Was falsely accused of something that I don't want to spoil for you, Keith, because I want you to watch the Clone Wars. She was,
I'll watch it.
Found innocent, but then everything that she went through, being in like a guilty until proven innocent type state, just made her like walk away from the Jedi Order. And like, gotcha. Anakin didn't give up on her. He's like, I'm going to take you back. He was continuing to fight for her and her innocence and everything. And you see a scene where she's like, I just can't, master. And then like she walks away and like animated Anakin gives her the look. And then that's the look that Force Ghost Anakin gives Ahsoka, as like she has now like moved past giving up on Sabine, which I have a lot of feelings about the whole like Sabine dynamic, but unrelated. So it was like, you see that clip of Ahsoka walking out of the Jedi Temple for the last time when she leaves the Order for good and becomes like a nomad Force user, let's say.
A Ronin.
Yeah, lightsabers go to white, the neutrality, like gone from the blue and shorter green in the offhand. And so that, I think
white lightsabers are gorgeous. White lightsabers are my favorite color. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time I think I saw them.
Yeah, so when I play in the new video game with Cal, and when you can customize the lightsaber, I have to go with white. And
I went with blue and white. I always went between blue and white.
Yeah, I stayed with just white. And the thing that you'll love about this, Joey, is my older sister, she lives in California and works for Respawn Entertainment and did animating on the Star Wars game for her job for like the last 3 years when they were making it. She did all of the Rancor animation, like some of the clothing and a lot of Marin's. She does like the movement part, and then they overlay the art on top of like the skeletal structure and stuff that she animated for that game, which is just so cool.
That is really cool.
So, R.I.P. Ray Stevens. Do you think they'll actually recast Balin's skull, or can they kind of write him out? Skull.
I think it was at least open-ended enough that it could be okay. And they also like they do really good with the CGI in Star Wars. I know it's not perfect, but like Mark Hamill in The Mandalorian, I thought looked very good. I thought CGI Mark Hamill in The Mandalorian actually looked better than how they tried to make Hayden Christensen look younger in this show. So I think if they want his character, they could do it. But I don't know that he has to come back into it or where it's going to go from here. There's so many loose threads that.
But this one definitely is a show, not a mini series like some of the other ones have been, right? Like it definitely should theoretically get a second season, as long as they're where some of the other ones were just intended one-offs.
Are you up on the Mandalorian too, Keith? Did you watch the?
Yeah, I've consumed everything Disney's put out except the animated stuff.
They had hinted at Thrawn and everything with that meeting with Moff Gideon and those other we'll say post-Empire supporters that were still they were, where is Thrawn? Does he exist anymore? So I think it's going to tie back into the Mandalorian timeline, like a lot of these
everything
side shows
is.
have.
Yeah, everything's he's showing up in everything. It made sense for him to show up in Boba Fett, but like, yeah, I think everything's going to come back to that as well. Also, I just want to point out, you just told me Ray Stevenson died.
Yeah, it's
yes, like a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, maybe.
He was the Punisher.
One of like 7 Punishers. Yes.
Yeah.
He passed away in May.
You know what? I bet I heard that and was just like, "Oh, that sucks." But now that I've watched Ahsoka, now it's making more sense why I care. All right.
I know. And like I've been seeing a lot of talk about it, especially with the show ending last week and stuff. And I just posted something about his death in my story on Instagram today because like I did like his character. I love everything related to the Empire. Like like I have Empire decorations in my gym. My house is Imperial themed on the upstairs, black and white. We've got Stormtrooper helmet, ruggable rugs in our living room, TIE fighter rug in my bedroom. Like, love the Empire, so that like Inquisitor or like the Dark Force users and Dark Side of the Force users, here for all of it.
They're not the good guys though. Like we know, you know that.
There's just something like I like the different aspects. Like you can look at it, like you can see the mental illness in some of the characters, like how they get twisted and manipulated. I think the storylines and like the evolutions, like Darth Maul going off the deep end in the cartoons, which you should watch, Keith, and how his psyche changes and things.
I will. I'll work on it.
You see the trajectory of Anakin, Christopher Lee of Count Dooku. I mean, Christopher Lee, he's like one of the most badass humans to ever live. Like, how can you not like him? All of it, like even Adam Driver in the sequels, which I'm not a fan of them, but he did such a good job at that character and like showing the conflict and everything. Like I find that more compelling. So
that's fair.
All right, one last thing for both of you, or mainly Joey, honestly. And then we can move on from Star Wars. So, assuming you did watch the last episode and you're up to date.
Hold on.
What did you think?
I was on vacation last week.
So maybe he didn't then. I don't want to ruin it then.
Oh, I watched it, but there is a 10 out of 10 chance that I was in the bag.
Okay. Well, do you remember, because this was a solid like 5-minute scene that kept coming back and forth. What did you think of the zombie fucking stormtroopers?
Oh, I remember that.
like as a zombie guy and as a Star Wars guy, like was that the first zombie Star Wars? Like those witches fucking reanimated all these fucking.
It's the first
stormtrooper dudes.
It's the first to my experience. So Star Wars is a fantasy. It's not science fiction. It's science fantasy. I've said that before. It's wizards and witches and all of that shit. But I'd never seen the witches until Jedi Survivor.
Mm.
right until Cal's story. So I didn't know there was witches. Does it make logical sense that there would then be zombie stormtroopers? Absolutely. But all I could think of is when Deadpool comes across zombies.
Mm.
He fucking loves zombies because you can kill them over and over and over and over again, and they just keep coming. So I just actually remember watching it, laughing about zombie stormtroopers, and then thinking Deadpool would be in heaven killing stormtroopers because they're stormtroopers and zombies. That was actually my thought about it.
I'll give the short rundown. It again harkens back to animated Star Wars. They show the Night Sisters of Dathomir, who you see in the Cal Kestis video games and in the show. Their home planet Dathomir is where Darth Maul and like his species are from too. So like, I mean, underutilized in the live action, but one of the most badass villains in the whole show. Like anybody, especially people our age, being a younger kid, and then you see him ignite the double lightsaber for the first time,
Mhm.
you can't say that wasn't just unbelievably badass. So, like all of that stuff, you do see a lot of it, and you can learn more about it if you consume all the content. So,
Yeah, I don't like animated television shows. So as much as I've always been like, I would probably read the Clone Wars before I would watch it because I didn't like their style of animation.
yeah, I'm not an animated show person either, but like Dave Finoli and I forget the other guy, the people who are doing the storyline and the directing for all of these, the Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and everything, they did all the other stuff. So the storylines are phenomenal, and if you can just kind of like after like a couple seasons, you just get used to it, and it's like not that big of a deal because you're so invested in the characters. Um, you know, can't say enough good things about that stuff. I feel like I'm due to rewatch it all myself when I
Yeah.
have time.
It sounds like not it's on Disney. I might as well.
Hmm.
Because Loki just started too, and like it's so good.
Ooh, yeah, I got to catch up on that. They just released one episode though, right? It's not like there's gonna be a week to week gap. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't feel like I'm behind the eight ball already because I am pretty behind on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you got time to catch up.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, well, let's maybe do one or two more questions, and then we can get into a little sponsor read, and then unpaid and underrated.
Well, why don't you go ahead and ask a question? Um, I've got something to do here.
Yep. This was from one of the crew, and I think it was Jen, but don't quote me on that. So Big Matt Sesney, will you ever do another Raw powerlifting meet again, buddy?
I'm I'm not going to say no. There's definitely a chance. I'm not exactly interested in it right now, but if it was like I don't know, I'm really enjoying the equipped journey because I have the added technical layer on top of the strength layer. Um, I think, like Dave Tate said on Table Talk a lot of times, a lot of people, how they enter the sport is kind of the niche that they fall into. Now, I didn't necessarily initially fall into equipped lifting, but when I first started seriously training for powerlifting, that's when I found Elite FTS, West Side versus the World, like all that stuff. Watching Chuck Vogopol videos, like I always wanted to do that. And raw powerlifting meets were a means to the end of I need to learn how to get through a meet with less variables and then do it again before I worry about adding the extra layer of equipment. And then it was also a time to establish like technique and base level of strength and things. So I don't, it's not like I was raw and then I'm like, oh, I want to try this equipped because the multiply was always the end goal. I just took a 3 year path to get into the multiply. So I'm not saying I'll never do it again, but
Is that where you're at now? Because I think didn't you do single in Aberdeen, or did you do multiply?
so the reason for single ply in Aberdeen is because it was originally a USPA meet, and anybody who's ever lifted multiply, you're not walking a squat out, and you don't want to multiply bench in a combo rack. You want a competition bench and you want a monolift.
So you're going to go out of your way to do RPS then? Because I know RPS has got a couple of meets that they do. So for anyone that's not familiar, like there's all kinds of different powerlifting federations. Very few still do monolifts. RPS is one that does, and RPS and WNPF is more of a something local to you and I, kind of sort of. I think it's like it's more of an East Coast thing. But there is like the meet director Ron. He puts a couple of meets on within an hour of you a year, and then RPS I think does one or two. They do one in Rochester and one in Buffalo-ish. So I'm assuming you're going to cater to doing those, or are you going to stick with USPA and just walk it out?
So I haven't signed up for it, but I already have my next meet picked out. So Rayanne Miller that I train with, I'm not sure. Are you familiar with her, Keith?
She benches
She's
like
from
500
Barker.
pounds or something, doesn't she? Yeah, I think I
650.
know. Okay, I undershot then. Yeah, she's a big geared. I know I've crossed paths with her in meets.
Yeah, she's got the heaviest equipped bench ever. Like heaviest bench press for a female ever to walk this earth. She's the Jimmy Kolb of women's bench press. So her and her husband Jeff and one of their friends who train with us, they've done a bunch of metal militia meets. So I'm going to do the one in Horseheads or Elmira called Helmira Winter War Zone. It's supposed to be a phenomenal meet. They do it like in a old rundown church or something, and you're like up on the altar lifting like a stage and something. They said it's pretty cool. She lifted in that meet before the Winter War Zone they do at the end of January. So you've got that, or down by Big Eddie, the IPA is big down there, and I know a lot of equipped lifters in Maryland and Delaware that train out of Black Flag Barbell, and they go into Pennsylvania for IPA meets. Like at York Barbell has IPA meets and stuff. So like in this area, there's a lot, or anything in Ohio, there is tons of equipped lifting there still. Big Emmett, Main Street Barbell, where he trains, is loaded with equipped lifters. So you kind of have to just, like in Buffalo, we don't have a ton of it other than like the one RPS meet that's only a push pull that I did last year.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that. I think that someone was trying to coerce me to come out to that, and I was like, hey, yeah, it's just push pull, and it's all like geared lifting, kind of sort of. I'm good.
Heath, what's happening behind you?
So Steve was actually the only equipped lifter in it last year when I did that meet, but one of our training partners, Sean, he's friends with the meet director. I think the meet director is kind of ready to pass the torch, and Steve might be taking over that meet, and like then we would bring monos. We've actually talked about doing it at maybe at Luke and Maria Bright's gym in Niagara County, because they have all the competition equipment they bought for the original showdown, so it'd be a lot easier than.
What's their gym?
It's just a private facility.
Okay, yeah, because they started the WRPF New York branch, and then COVID hit and just destroyed that, and they both walked away from it. They were supposed to actually have the first showdown in Niagara Falls 2020, and then that clearly never happened, and then it got took over, and then it's already, I think that morphed into the American Open, I believe.
Right, yeah, but they bought all that competition equipment, and it's just in their private. It's
Okay.
like a home gym, but in a warehouse in Wheatfield. So
Gotcha.
who knows what's going to happen with that? So
Well, that was my last roundup. I don't know if Joey wants to touch on anything, or if we can just move on to unpaid and underrated.
What's happening behind you?
Me?
Yeah, is like the cat's messing with something behind you? Because like your background is totally moving.
So yeah, I have my background's blurred, but if they're running into the curtain would be shit. Because there's a curtain. When we moved into the house, they had like little fucking bypass doors on all the closets, but the closets are only like fucking like 25 inches wide or something. So we took all the doors off and just put curtains on everything, just like a big floor to ceiling curtain.
All right.
So if the cats are running into that, I would imagine that's what that is.
Okay. So cameo by the kittens. I get it.
Yeah, they're coming around. They're getting a little less.
Somebody wanted me to ask you, or ask us to ask you, to FMK Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and Harry Potter. But I don't think that's fair, because I do think that Luke Skywalker and Harry Potter are the same people. How offensive is that take?
I'm not here. I don't care about Harry Potter. Like my wife and her sisters liked it. My older sister and my younger sister loved it. My older sister really she read those books over and over and over and over. And like I read the four of them. I don't care. It comes down to like British culture. I don't know. Maybe I'm too American that I just like I want nothing to do with anything where people have a British accent most of the time.
But what I'm trying to point out is the parallels between Harry Potter and Luke Skywalker are like it's the same story. He's an orphan.
Well, then obviously you have to pick Star Wars because George Lucas did it first before
Yep.
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
So,
No, I agree. I would
um,
always pick Star Wars first, but
Gary, I have to marry Star Wars for sure.
mhm,
We're gonna kill Harry Potter, obviously,
yeah.
and then definitely fuck with Lord of the Rings. So in the Wolf Pack, every single one of us in there huge Lord of the Rings fans. Like we do Lord of the Rings memes, like Big Dylan, President of North Dakota, huge Lord of the Rings fans, Emmett, Eddie, and Steve, and myself. And then we just like in the last couple months, Scans has watched them for the first time. He's like, now I get all the jokes. Like, so he's in on all the Lord. So we're
That's funny.
constantly sharing Lord of the Rings things. I mean, Star Wars is my bread and butter because my whole house and
Mhm.
we've obviously can tell, but I do love Lord of the Rings and I have a lot of strong opinions about those movies and stuff too. But they are some of the best movies of our generation for sure.
All right. Fun Wolfpack fact. My kid, who's 4, the other day, we were sitting at dinner, and he turned to me and Matt, I swear with all of my heart, that kid too sweeted me. He's seen me do it because I do it to my wife sometimes, and like if somebody's wearing an NWO shirt, I'll do it. And he walked up and he went, "Daddy, what is this?" And then I was
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
"That's the too sweet. Where did you learn that?" And he won't do it again. But yeah, that was a proud father moment.
You're
That
like attaboy.
yeah, that boy, you're gonna be just okay.
hmm We need to raise our kids, Joey, on professional wrestling.
Yep.
We need to make that great again. And like I I feel like my parents weren't white trash enough for me to watch wrestling enough as a kid. Like I played the video games at my friend's house, but I don't think I watched it much. But like as an adult, like if I have downtime, like on my lunch break, I'm watching wrestling on YouTube
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah, most of my TikTok and Instagram is wrestling memes, and I watch Botchamania a lot. I don't really watch live anymore because there's just nothing like Bray Wyatt's gone. When Bray Wyatt was gone, I was gone as soon as he left. But LA Knight,
The only reason
go ahead.
the only reason to watch is for what's her name from Australia.
Oh, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, she's the only reason to watch wrestling now. Really, you know what I mean?
Well, there's rumors she's going to take over the bloodline
hmm
or at least join it.
I don't know the story. I just know who she is,
Oh,
and
LA
use your imagination why.
LA Knight might bring you back. He's
Okay.
he's killing whatever he's doing. He's killing it. He's great on the mic. He's big. He's muscular. He can wrestle. But most particular, his mic skills are like he's. A lot of people accuse him from stealing The Rock and Stone Cold's gimmicks, but it's only because he's that damn good at
Like
doing
he's
what
got
he
that
does.
big personality and
hmm
everything, and
hmm
like okay, I'll have to dig further into that and maybe start keeping up more. You know.
What I do is honestly, I just like I go on Instagram and I watch their highlights because I can't sit through a 3 hour Raw where it's 3 hours long. An hour and a half of that is commercials,
hmm
right? Another hour is promos, and you're lucky to get half an hour of wrestling. So I watch
You
AEW.
just want to see the drama, and that's it. You know.
Well, I want to see like who showed up. Undertaker showed up on NXT last night for some reason. Like
hmm
I want to see that kind of stuff. I don't want to see. God, I don't want to see the boring interviews with guys that can't shoot promos. I don't want to see, the jobber versus the big guy because they've got to push the big guy over and we'll feed him this local monkey. Like I don't want to see that crap. It's boring to me. So I want to see I want to see John Moxley wrestle. I want to see Brian Danielson or Daniel Bryanson, whatever his name is now. So I watch probably AEW a little more, but I've still got my eye on guys like LA Knight.
Okay.
But RIP Bray Wyatt. All right. I guess, yeah. Don't forget to use our. I saw that Keith kind of just like blanked out for a second there. Yeah, he's like, wrap it up. Wrap it up, B.
Well, we're at the 2 hour mark, so yeah, let's get some sponsors and
yeah, he's playing the playoff music. Yeah, don't forget that our other sponsor is Obsidian Ammonia. I have seen some people using our code, which is code unpaid, saves you 15%. Go and try the new menthol cigarettes and let me know how it is. Lou, I know you're trying it right now. Don't know if you're listening. Might have to harass you to listen a little more often, but let us know how that goes. But remember, code unpaid gets you 15%.
as soon as Lou tells us he listens to a couple episodes, he'll be a guest. Like I want to get Lou on so bad, but I
He's so
also
much
have
fun.
100 people that listen every week and want to be on the podcast. So, like, eventually we'll get to people that don't listen, but
yeah, I'll get to him at the Arnold and I'll start bothering him.
Yep. There was a couple guys I've talked to recently. I've been kind of like reaching out to some people for like potential future guests. I've been kind of like, hey, how are you how are you liking the podcast? And kind of like based off their feedback, it's like, okay, well, you're not listening yet, so well, I'm not actually going to offer you an invite just yet. But that can close out everything we've done so far, and let's get into a little unpaid and underrated. It's a game that we created solely by ourselves, or completely original. And are you familiar with it, Big Matt? I believe you are up to date and listen to all our episodes, so you know that unpaid equals overrated, and it's not necessarily if you think it's if it's good or bad. It's what's the general population's opinion on it, and do you agree with that or not, more or less. So, Big Matt, I can jump in here and get a couple going. Ooh, let's see. Number one for Big Matt, unpaid or underrated, a game we came up with all by ourselves. CPAP machines.
Oh, here we go. This is where the druthers begin.
Ooh.
CPAP Nation. CPAP is one of the most underrated things. Obviously, I have one, Team Neck Meets, Scance and Big Matt, not the Big Matt who's on the podcast right now, but there's another Big Matt who also has a CPAP. Several of us in the crew, kind of goes with being a big sweaty meathead powerlifters, it has changed my life. I tell everybody that I meet, all my coworkers, other than the day I got married and the day that my son came into this world and I held him for the first time, the first night I slept with a CPAP on was the greatest day of my life. I have had mine for, we're coming up, this spring will be 3 years, and I have never missed a single day. I go off the grid to the cabin, no power, no phone service. We bring like deep cell boat batteries with an inverter, and I run my CPAP off batteries when I'm in the middle of the woods. I refuse to sleep without it. If the power goes out because there is a wicked blizzard and there's 4 feet of snow outside of my house, I will get up in the middle of the night. I will start the generator and I will run one extension cord to my CPAP, sleep the rest of the night, and deal with everything else in the morning. I love it. It has been the single best recovery tool and help my lifting more than anything else. If you listen to Jimmy Kolb, sleep is the answer to the test. Stan the Rhino Efforting, promotes like, even if you don't actually have sleep apnea and training is that important to you, go buy a secondhand one and sleep with it anyway, because even if you don't have severe apnea where you really need one to like prevent strokes and other bad health benefits, it's going to boost your recovery. And yeah,
Does it just
phenomenal.
push you into REM? Does it just push you into REM cycle faster, kind of, because it puts you into like a deeper sleep? Because I know you only get like 4 hours of sleep some nights. So
So what happens is I've always been a good sleeper, or so I thought. Like I sleep at night, hardly ever woke up like to go to the bathroom, even after a couple too many brewskis or anything like that. Like can sleep through train horns and fire trucks going down the street. But what you don't know is when you have an apnea event, your you stop breathing, your oxygen level drops. Your sleeping heart rate might be like 70 or something. Then when you start breathing again, your heart rate will spike to 150 because your body is working extra hard to get all that oxygen back to your body. So it's the fatigue of the heart, which can cause the stroke, cardiac remodeling, and then just like that calorie and energy expenditure of like, imagine like sprinting for a second and then sleeping and sprinting for a sec and sleeping. Like that's what your heart is going through all night. So that's why you're not as well rested. And then again, also like not going through all the proper cycles of sleep because you're micro waking up every couple minutes or, a couple times a minute, depending on the severity.
That makes sense. I'm glad you're glad you found that for your health and your
Mhm.
your ability to lift more. That's a good thing. So
Anybody couldn't tell that is extremely underrated. Not sure if I said that from the get
so
go.
yeah, underrated CPAP machine. So number two for me, I've got, let's see, your wife wanted me to mention this Sudoku puzzle. Sudoku? No, no.
Oh, I don't know how to say it either. I'm gonna go extremely unpaid. It was a topic this weekend when we're at the cabin. Already talked about the power situation, or when she's out in the tree stand because she also loves bow hunting. Sometimes there's not a lot going on, so she might be playing Sudoku on her phone. Um, you know, uh, Even if I am just a simple blue collar worker now, there was a point in time in my life where I was fairly good at math, like advanced calculus and everything in school. Like my dad wanted me to be an engineer because I was that good at math. I have never solved a Sudoku puzzle once in my life.
And I will tell you why. Sudoku is not math. Sudoku is pattern. It has
Yeah,
nothing to do with adding or subtracting. It has everything to do with pattern recognition. And I share that with you. I am shit at that. Human behavior, human patterns. I will watch you for like 20 minutes and I'll figure out, like, I'll Sherlock Holmes you. I'll look up and down and tell you your past. Okay. Directions, same thing. Algebra, I was so good at algebra. And you hand me a Sudoku and I just see
hmm
static. I don't know. I don't get this. So, no, I'm with you on that one because it's not math, it's patterns. I can do math. I can't do those patterns.
maybe I always associated it with math because I was in like advanced physics class, like the
Mhm.
second level in the high school, and the teacher was very incapable at his job. I was the only one that passed the exam in my class because that's what my father did for a living, was teach physics. So he taught me the class at home while my teacher taught nothing in school. And he gave us like, oh, today your assignment is complete a Sudoku puzzle. So I thought it had something to do with calculus and math because why else would we be doing this in physics? No, I just have a lazy piece of shit teacher.
Yeah, you might as well learn coding. If you think Sudoku is math, it's not. It's coding. It's just recognizing the pattern of this number to this number to this number to this number to this number. It has nothing to do with the math because 2 + 2 = 4 every fucking time, no matter how you put it on there. It just matters where you put it. That's pattern
Yeah.
recognition. It's
Yeah,
not math. So I'm with
that
you.
sounds
Yeah,
frustrating.
it's the worst. If you ever want to feel stupid, pick up a Sudoku. My best friend's like, no, I got this. And my wife's like, my wife was doing what game? It was Jedi Survivor. There's a Sudoku in Jedi Survivor.
Oh, those puzzles are hard in that game for sure.
And I'm looking at this and I was like, I'm going to have to Google this. And my wife was like, no, you're not. And she did it. And I was like, nope. I said, if you asked me right now how you did that, I would never be able to tell you because it was just, she's like, it's just Sudoku. I was like, sure it is.
All right, Big Matt. My last one here for unpaid and underrated is gonna be mullets. Something you're very familiar with. At least you were very familiar with.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I still think I've got to go with underrated on the mullet. I miss mine a lot. It was a hard choice of like when to cut it. Like I started that at the beginning of COVID. Like I got my last haircut like right before they shut the barber shops down here in New York. Like, and then I've had trims obviously to make it into the mullet, but I really wanted to have it at the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic, but leading into that meet, it's summertime, it's hot, and one of the things I added to my lifting is a ton of GPP or cardio or whatever. And I like riding bikes, sled dragging, rower, like it was a wet mop every day. And I couldn't deal anymore when I started doing all the cardio. And although I probably got more from my lifting from the mullet just because it just gave some kind of energy. And I don't think my pit vipers look half as cool on me anymore. It'll be back someday when she says it's time to grow the mullet out again, because the whole thing was her idea in the first place, why I grew it. So, it'll be back. Definitely underrated.
You didn't have it at the Lift Hard, Live Easy?
No, I had cut it like the beginning of July, which was a big deal. I didn't tell anyone.
I swear I walked in, okay, because I was late, right? And I saw you and your mullet, and I was like, "Hey, it's Big Matt," and you were like, "Yeah," and then like that was how we recognized each other. And I swear it was because you had a mullet. So that's
Nope.
that's a Mandela effect for me. But
Floss had long hair. I'm trying to think who else had long hair.
no, it was definitely Matt,
Yeah.
because I was like, "That's Big Matt," because he had a name tag that said Matt.
So I even talked about it at the zoo with, I believe, Diet Tanner also cut his hair, correct?
He had long hair at the meet.
But I don't think he does anymore.
Oh yeah.
No, he cut his hair.
Well, that's fun. That completely my brain completely said name tag Big Matt, mullet, that's Cesny, because I did recognize you right away and said something to
His
you.
wife has long hair. She has shoulder length hair. I think that's a little past.
Yeah, you're right. I definitely thought his wife was him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to help you out.
Yeah. If I had my wife's hair, I would never cut the mullet because she's got those tight curls, and like the dudes that have like the really curly mullets that look like a perm, like
it's like Tommy hair.
That's like next level. If you've got that hair and you cut it into the mullet, you are the peak of mullet right there.
All right. Let's get going to the next one. Okay, got a couple here that I added during our conversations, and some other ones. Unpaid or overrated, unpaid or underrated, jumping through folding tables.
That's a tough one to say because, like,
have you ever done it?
Think I have. I've jumped through things. It's one of those things like, do I remember, like, even if it wasn't at a tailgate, like every like cookout, like afternoon backyard before a 4 o'clock Bills game, like maybe not. I think what I'm gonna say unpaid because they're kind of grown bigger than just the Bills Mafia, and now it's just a drunken NFL tailgate thing. But like, because that whole thing, like the phenomenon started here with our crazy tailgating, because like we suffered so many years. We have like the diehard loyal fans who have loved the Bills even when they have sucked for all of my lifetime. I don't remember the Jim Kelly era. I was a like baby basically then. So we still had fun at Bills games. Like they're getting destroyed. It doesn't matter. Like we're still happy to be there. We're drinking, jumping through tables. Like in its infancy, it would have been underrated, but now that it's just every team does it, and like the Bengals, they're crazy. Sure, they're crazy. They're not Bills Mafia, and that's just me being biased. So whatever. Maybe I have a little bit of that hipster elitism about it, or whatever. Even so, yeah, we're gonna go unpaid for sure.
The Bengals fans jumping through tables are the equivalent of the "Oh my god, I'm so weird" on TikTok, and it's just them like they're at dinner and they like stick their tongue out and they're like, "Oh, you married such a weirdo."
Yeah,
like yeah,
they're trying too hard.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Unpaid or underrated. T Swift. Second week in a row, T Swift has come up.
I have been a fan for so long. I have been a fan for a very long time. Like 15-year-old Matt through like when I moved out of my parents' house, T Swift calendar. I remember it had to be, I was a junior in high school. Two, it might have been the 2009 or 10. One of those Christmases, I got a T Swift calendar in April. Oh, and I had a buddy who had the same calendar. That picture she had in the month of April, which is my birthday month, I'm like, oh, I have been a fan, and I've been a fan of her music. So I worked at there's like a local to Buffalo, like a hot dog restaurant, whatever. They get real busy in the spring and summer. It's my first job in high school, and like they used to play like pop music, and you know how like retail playlists are, or anybody that's worked like any kind of job like that, like you hear the same songs over and over, and like some of them you loathe, but like some of them you just latch onto. And like when you're 16, 17-year-old kid and you're there with your friends and you're just mopping up the restaurant after close and you're belting Taylor Swift into the mop handle like it's a microphone, like those are core memories, you know. And I've listened to Taylor Swift through college, and then I'd known my wife, but when we started dating, like she's loved Taylor Swift forever too. She's had like, whatever, like the high school boyfriends that broke up with her at the right time to make the music hit extra and everything. And actually, funny thing is, this Saturday we are going to the IMAX to go see the concert movie or whatever that's coming out, which like
I love that.
yeah, like so whatever. I am not independently wealthy. I cannot afford tickets to one of her concerts. So we're gonna go, and we had to pre-order movie tickets to go see the movie of a concert because she's such a phenomenon. But like building my house with my wife, like it's 1 a.m. and we're laying flooring and we've got Taylor's version of Red on 11 in the house, just shaking the walls, like harkening back to like 10 years ago, like when that like hit different because we were younger and whatever, coming of age type. And Taylor Swift was like the peak back then for me. So I can't say that she's overrated, even though she's one of the biggest, or I can't say she's unpaid, even though she's one of the biggest people in the entire world right now.
Mhm.
I'm a little over the whole NFL thing. I'm not really into that. I don't follow any of that, but I'm going just off of, I love the music. I love the re-releases of all the albums. And I mean, who's going to deny that she's not a good looking woman? Like all of that, underrated for sure.
Hell yeah.
I just miss that she, doesn't sing country music anymore. Like
Oh,
I
stop it.
don't think I've listened to a single song she's done in 15 years since she got out of country music, or like 10 years.
If you haven't heard Trouble and didn't
Yeah,
like that song, something's wrong with you.
maybe
That song was
it all
incredible.
it all sounds the same to me. If it's not
Even
Oh,
if it's
here we go.
even if those ones aren't my favorite, like I still listen to them, I still appreciate it. But like, just listen to the old stuff or listen to the Taylor's version of the old albums because like the re-releases are even better. That's what I listen to 99% of the time.
oh, she's re-releasing her country stuff as pop. Is that what you're getting at?
No, it's not even as pop. Just like some of the music dynamics have changed. Like the music's tweaked a little, the vocals are a little different, but like
Interesting.
Speak Now and everything. Like The Other Side of the Door, Taylor's re-release is like my favorite song. It's like that song that's so good that like no matter what, like I get chills when I listen to it, as lame as that sounds. Like I just love that song that much. That version 10 times better than the original. And that one came out in maybe 2010. So yeah, you can listen to it. So it gives you something new, but it's something you're familiar with and you like. And to pick the subtle differences between the two, I find interesting.
Your enthusiasm
Cool.
filled me with great happiness. Unfortunately,
Good topic.
it went a little long, so I'm going to give you two, but these are rapid fire. Okay.
Okay.
I want 60 seconds or less on both of these. Okay.
Okay.
First one, unpaid, underrated, General Grievous.
Love his character, but he's a total wuss and he runs away from everything. I am going to have to go unpaid. As cool as he is, he will not stand up and fight. He will run from any conflict at any given time. And the more Clone Wars animated you watch, the more you'll see that pattern. So unpaid.
Okay. Last but not least, Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
I mean, he's the man. He is the man. I love him. Like one of in my first powerlifting meet where I met Big Keith in person for the first time, I wore Hulk Hogan socks, and I remember the head judge complimenting me on my Hulk Hogan socks, and then not realizing that that is who was judging my meet was Dan, whose barn I trained with at the crew, and now we're friends and everything. So it was just cool. We had that little connection over Hulk Hogan. So completely underrated because he is the man. He's the Hulkster.
And he started, well, he didn't start, but the NWO.
But founding member of NWO. Yeah, of course.
NWO.
I'm trying to keep it under 60 seconds here for you.
That's what I was going for. I wanted to hear the For Life stuff, right? Which led to the Wolf
Yeah.
Pack.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think you passed unpaid and underrated.
All means.
Great job. Great job.
Add that to my Instagram bio.
That's so funny. You know, Mauser actually did do that.
I know. I love that so much. He totally, like, when they talk about guests that get it, he really got it. You know what I mean?
If you do that, if you add past unpaid and underrated on the UNU, we will share the shit out of that. That's
I'm going
hilarious.
to do it tonight. Why not? Absolutely. I'll put it on my Facebook too, and no one in my family will understand it.
I don't even have Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Just cause. Why not?
Okay. I think it's time. We do have a little bit of time to move on to the. We're all in the same time zone now. I think this is the first guest I think we've had that's in the same time zone.
It's because I've been on a run a crew of Lift Hard Live Easy, and only a handful of us actually came in from not local. So it's kind of nice actually being on it.
Time to move away from that Midwest shit. Just bring some more people from our time zone. What do you got for us? I think it's your turn.
Yeah, I got a couple questions. Some of these they don't have to be super long answers, so it doesn't. I know we're running pretty long so far. One of my first things was, all three of us home gym owners, basement gym owners. Keith definitely a little bit of an equipment junkie, maybe more so than you, Joey. But I know that you also kind of like the minimalism side of things. So, one piece of gym equipment for the rest of your life. What are you picking to try to cover everything?
Barbell
and plates.
Yep. If can I include the rack? No, that's two pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fine. We'll do those dummy squats, right? Where you just you press it up onto your
Steinborn.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we'll do those.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll floor bench. Right? That barbell. Me and that barbell, I saw, speaking of memes the other day, and Star Wars, it might have even been you that shared it. It was like that scene when Darth Maul is walking back and forth behind the
me looking at the dumbbell rack, me looking
at the barbell for 10 minutes in between my sets. Yeah, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. Just you're my guy. You're my boy, Blue.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty easy one for me, actually. Thank you.
Okay, Keith, how about you?
I mean, it's hard because I'm.
Did he freeze for you too?
He did freeze. We'll have to do. You have to say that again, Keith.
Call it a weight set or plates.
I'm just gonna kick him out. It'll just be me and you for a minute.
God damn it!
I think you said a weight set,
I heard a weight set and a Steinborn.
Yeah,
I would do this. I would do the same.
Oh, hell yeah.
So for me, I'm going to pick the sled because I feel like you can get every part of your body jacked and cardio and do joint healthy movement with it. And I love sled drags. And I feel like if I just had that, and I don't even need plates because I have a sled that lives at work and I put pipe flanges and anything heavy on top of it and go out on lunch in the parking lot and just drag that thing around, pull it with, face pulls, anything like that. I'm picking the sled, to try to keep it as simple as possible and then try to keep have it as a cardio equipment because I hate running.
And I hate cardio. So that were, as it shows, as none of my stuff fits anymore. I'm sorry, Keith. You really did. You cut right out. And we started having a whole conversation in that time.
No, you're good. I kind of just was nitpicking that it could only be one item. So to me, plates and a barbell are multiple items. So I don't know. But if I live in a world where I can pick both, then yeah, I would do some variation of a weight. I don't know, like a barbell. It has to be a barbell. If I couldn't pick a barbell, maybe a adjustable kettlebell. Like I don't know what the fuck I'd do with it, but like I don't know. I'm a meat and potato. Give me a barbell, squat rack, and a deadlift platform, and I'm good for the rest.
Mhm.
He's not a botanist.
Yeah, obviously. Thank goodness this isn't the world we live in, and we get to have all of our toys.
Not a botanist.
Yeah.
Which,
All right. Here's
go ahead.
I got another quick one here for you guys. I'm not sure. I know we've talked about like you eating before your training and your schedule and things, and I have like some weird tendencies for like food around training. So we'll break it into like a two category: favorite pre-lifting meal, upper body day, so like bench press day, or lower body squat and deadlift, because I have different answers for both.
I can do upper body fasted and still perform well. Lower body, if I'm working out in the morning, I want a couple of eggs. I want some avocado toast, just something that's going to just fill me. I might be an outlier. I don't really care. It's what I ate the night before that really starts to affect me. And, like I had every intention this morning of getting up at 5 a.m. and getting into the gym. But last night I decided to eat ghost pepper chicken wings. So I did not sleep very well. So like that affected it. I just said, no, I'm going to sleep and go to work and work out when I get home. And what did I have for lunch? I had some chicken and rice, right? So I would say there was a time I cared more, and now it comes down to, remember the old days of carb loading? You used to carb load the day before, right? Like if you knew you had a big lift, you would eat a ton of carbs the night before. That's where I am now.
Okay.
RPE 10 push tomorrow on lower body, deads or squats. I'm eating pasta the night before.
Makes sense. The glycogen stores and all that. How about you, Keith? Did we lose him?
Yeah, I think we lost him.
Okay. Well, I'll give my answer then quickly.
They have like specific.
Oh, here he is.
Oh, he's going. All right. You're back.
Yeah.
I don't really have specific foods. It's more about timing for me. So my biggest work of the week is my Sunday. So as long as I get my normal breakfast in between 7 and 8, I'm good to go. Which is just typically just a bowl of protein cereal. During the week, if I get home early enough, I'll train before dinner. If I get home late enough, I'll eat a light dinner first. But it's just like the normal shit I'll eat the rest of the week. So I very seldom am I like, oh, I need to specifically eat this because of this. So it's just I control enough shit in my life that if I tried to control that too, I'd fucking probably go crazy.
I will tell you the one thing I don't want before I work out: bacon. I will strategically not eat bacon on days I lift because you're fucking tasting it all day. You got to do a big deadlift that your body's like, you're not going to do this. And you're like, shut up, buddy, I can do this. The bacon's going to go, you cannot. I am going to creep up and tickle the bottom of your nose, and you're going to taste bacon while you're trying to lift. So I will tell you that's the food I do not want to eat before a lift.
It's funny, Joey. I'm almost like the opposite of you. Like if I have a squat workout, which I don't really deadlift that much because it's an equipped thing. We just hate deadlifts. I like to be not fasted, but like no food in my stomach. And the only thing I worry about is electrolytes, like liquid IV, Prime, something like that.
Yeah.
So like I don't want any food in my stomach, especially like in the gear. Like if my stomach's bloated, like the briefs aren't going to fit right. So just let me be really hydrated. And then if I'm going to bench, especially in a bench shirt, like get me like I'll eat half a dozen bagels before I put the bench shirt on and just get as full as possible. So it's almost the opposite where you say you could do upper body fasted. I need all the carbs like an hour or 30 minutes before benching. And then for lower body, like I could have been 6 hours without eating. As long as I drank enough water, I'm good to go. Let it rip.
Yeah. Electrolyte supplements all day, every day. I've said it before on this podcast. Most people, what you think ails you is dehydration. And I know that's like the meme right now is your boyfriend asks you how much water have you had today? My wife the other day,
True.
she says, I think I'm getting a migraine. And I was like, go take that electrolyte supplement right now.
I got on my wife tonight. She's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't feel good. Like, I don't really want to have like a glass of wine or something for the stress." I'm like, "Why don't you go take a Prime hydration stick, put it in blender bottle, and chug that, and I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you'll feel better." I'm not gonna listen, but whatever.
Yep.
I'm gonna suggest it. But
Because the
anyway.
brain, I was reading this the other day and watching a TED talk or whatever it is that they do on the video, your brain doesn't have pain receptors. So your
Mhm.
brain isn't sore. The membrane around your brain is sore. And that
Mhm.
membrane hates being dehydrated.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. Just go to fucking hydration. Drink a gallon of water a day. Oh, we're losing Keith. He's passing right out. Yep, we saw that. Okay, give us one more, Matt, and then we can. I think you had one for each of us. Let's do those.
Okay. So I have a FMK Keith version and a Joey version, which it looks like we have Keith first. So Keith, yours is a little bit more themed. I have three different Keiths. I have Keith Urban, Keith Whitley, and Keith Buckley. I'm not sure if you know who Keith Buckley is, but
That one
hardcore singer
I think I'm drawing a blank on.
from Every Time I Die. Have you heard of Every Time I Die? They're from Buffalo, hardcore band, been around for 20 years. I know
Gosh,
Handsome Derek, he's a huge fan, so it might be an easy kill for you. So I guess it's more
yeah.
Keith Whitley and Keith Urban.
I guess I'll marry Keith Urban. I'm more familiar with him, and Keith Whitley had such a short marrying Keith Urban and killing the guy I never heard of.
Okay. Yeah. How about you, Joe? You got any thoughts on that?
I actually know who Keith Urban is. I know who Every Time I Die is, and I don't know who Keith Whitley is.
Okay. He's like old timey country singer, like whatever, 70s, 80s, I think,
And that's
Late '80s, and he's more famous because of how he died. Because he literally was an alcoholic and fucking drank himself
they
to
all did that.
death. If I recall.
They all
No, but
did
he like
that.
literally like drank like there was no liquor in the house, and he drank like fucking like Windex or something. He drank whatever was in the fucking house to get high, essentially, and fucking like OD'd.
Okay, so yeah, the old time country is my favorite. That is my favorite country is the old time stuff. So nope, so I don't have an answer for that one. So yeah,
Nice. I will relinquish my rants and we'll move on to the Joeys. I have three Joeys. We have Joey Diaz, Joey Swole, and Joey Smith, who I had to find another Joey. Joey Smith's a power lifter, owns Nebo Barbell, South Carolina.
who's Joey Diaz again?
Joey Diaz, the comedian. You've never seen Joey Diaz?
No.
Oh gosh, he's on Rogan all the time. He's the one who talks about. He's like, you ever have the 7-Eleven Brazilian bold coffee? That's what ICE drinks keep you up for 3 days. Like, oh my gosh, he's hilarious. Look up Joey
Oh,
Diaz clips. You'll pee your pants laughing. He
does he
is
have a
so funny.
mullet?
No, he's like
Okay.
he's kind of a bigger guy, I'd say like mid-50s or whatever, just like completely offensive and just like the stuff that he says is just he's a special character,
Oh,
hilarious.
yeah.
So,
Okay, yeah. So since I only know who one of those guys is, it's going to be Mary Joey Swole because
okay.
mind your business and do better.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're gonna kill the offensive guy you just said, and I guess we're gonna marry the other guy. And I just want to
Oh,
point.
sorry, man.
Yeah, I did. You just missed a prime opportunity to ask me about Joey Lawrence.
I am not sure if I know Joey Lawrence. I'm sorry.
Whoa, whoa! He was from
You don't know
Blossom.
Joe Lawrence? He's like he has 8 years younger than us.
Oh, come on, 8 years is not that bad.
Yeah, I'm only 30.
So all three of those brothers actually have a podcast now too.
Really?
The three Lawrence brothers actually have like a pretty popular podcast, I believe.
Okay, so Joey
Like, I don't know
Lawrence
that any of them are actually quote
was brother Joey on the Blossom television show, and he was a little bit of like a heartthrob musician, a la Mark Wahlberg, Wendecorn, or Weldecorn. We're talking to you there. So
Oh boy.
yeah, prime opportunity to miss out on the Joey Lawrence reference there.
Yeah, I missed that one. Well, I have one small question since that one kind of flopped a little, if you think that's all right. Your most embarrassing song that you lift heavy to, like you're going to put the music on and it's like that guilty pleasure, doesn't really fit the situation song.
I would I will definitely tell you that because my wife has pointed it out multiple times. It is "Shady Love" by the Scissor Sisters. So the Scissor Sisters, do you know who they are?
I do not know.
Uh, okay. Imagine the gayest group of people you have ever met in your life making incredible disco slash dance music, like a regurgitation of the Bee Gees.
Okay.
And that one song, for whatever reason, pumps my blood. I'm a
Just
huge,
got the beat or
yep.
something. It
I'm actually
just
a
gets
huge fan of them in general.
Mhm.
They're my happy time music, but that one song is in my workout playlist. It's called "Shady Love," and it's stupid. It's like I would just say it's like it's not even their best song, but it's in that playlist. And every time it comes on, my wife goes, "It's all hardcore, it's all deathcore, it's all heavy metal, or it's all extreme EDM." And then that comes on, and what the hell?
Just a wild card.
Yeah, absolute wild card. And then I recently added Alanis Morissette's "The Reasons I Drank," which is also like definitely does not belong in a workout playlist, but I love that song so much that I just want to hear it all the time.
How about you, Keith?
As far as not, I mean, says I listen to a lot of country, but one that's a little more like not one, whatever. I can't not lift heavy to that. I love that fucking song.
You have to say the song name again because you cut out on us, Keith.
Strawberry Wine.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's like that sappy '90s, like I get that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doesn't really fit the whole lifting. My answer, I have a new one as of late, and that is "Last Friday Night" by Katy Perry, which is probably played in every LA fitness around the country, and it's just stupid white girl pop music,
Yeah.
and that one just it gets me going.
It is super good. That is a good song, actually.
So, but like again, I'm like you, Joey. It's mostly like hardcore or deathcore, sometimes like '80s country, but mostly something heavy. And then just put that one on and like load 700 on the bar. I want to squat it to that song.
I want to put something out there before we move into the next segment. Have you heard of Jaluka? Okay. Okay.
Not
All right. Have you heard of Electric Callboy? Okay. Electric
Mhm.
Callboy is a weird, I want to say German version of this, but Jaluka I just recently discovered. So they have a song called Black. They're a Japanese metalcore band.
Okay. Japanese metalcore is a big thing too. I don't follow it, but I know they love metalcore over there.
Couldn't have told you a single thing about Japanese metalcore until this band, and they mix dubstep with their metalcore.
Okay. Something different.
Oh, it works. It works. I have been obsessed with them for the past like week. And it's bad lyrics, right? Because they're just translating what they know into English. It's just like the lyrics don't make sense, but the dude's a
Right.
pretty good vocalist. So
It works.
Jiluka, Jaluka.
Jaluka.
Yeah, look it
Okay.
up.
All right. Definitely will.
All right, our poor teddy bear down there is losing his eyesight. Should have had a monster.
No, I did want to. I did listen to some of that Bridge City Centers that you recommended. Okay, so I think I listened to like 5 or 6 of them. Like I dug the sound, but I couldn't understand 3/4 of the lyrics. I don't know if it's because she was singing too fast or she was more screaming. I almost kind of envisioned
She
like,
does
I
some
didn't watch the
screaming.
video of her singing, but I almost feel like she didn't open her teeth to actually fucking sing. Like she's singing with like her teeth closed kind of sound. So I'm like,
Yep.
I get the feeling, but I don't know what the fucking lyrics are. So I was like, but then like some of them I could like some of the songs were very clear and some were not. So it wasn't consistently.
Yeah, the lyrics are mostly about Death, Satan, and like fairy tales and monsters.
I dug the sound though.
Yeah, no, they're fantastic. She does that thing that I don't like with female vocalists where they do this pretend accent where like their R's are W's, and it's honestly one of the things I dislike about female vocalists. And but because I love the sound and the band and the lyrics so much, I absolutely love them. What about the other ones? Amigo the Devil and Scott Byram. Did you give them a chance?
I just got through the first one, or the first band. I wanted to be able to consume
Um,
enough of it. So
Amigo the
next
Devil
road
is
trip.
going to be a bit of bluegrass, blackgrass, I think we call him. Uh, going to depress the shit out of you probably,
I have enough of that in my life.
but he's a very good poet. He's a very good poet. I look at that kind of stuff because he sings a lot about death and confronting your mortality and your addictions and all of that stuff. And he does it in a really poetic way. Um, there's one song called Cocaine and Abel. The first time I heard it, I cried like a baby. Like I sat on the couch and bawled. And my wife came in and was like, "What the hell are you listening to?" And I was like, "I don't know." And ever since then, I've loved the dude. And Scott H. Byram is a dirty one man band from Texas. And that's the album you want to listen to, the Dirty One Man Band. He sings about titties and booze and drugs. And and like he got hit by a truck,
I
and
like
there's a
some of that.
lot of songs about trucks. And so he might be a little more up your alley. He's a little more aggressive. I've seen him many times. Great dude. All right. Well, I guess that rounds us out.
Yeah, we ready to dive right in?
Dive right in.
Get into the interview now.
I'm still laughing about
Dude.
like we're going on about just like deathcore music, and I can see Keith's one eye. He's so tired, like he's just
Fading.
tapping right out.
Well, I wanted to. I did forget that I had listened to them, that you recommended them, so I wanted to bring that up while it was still relevant.
Appreciate that.
But yeah, let's bring this one in for our landing, boys.
All right. You can find us at Unpaid and Underrated Podcast on Instagram. You can find our website at unpaidinternpodcast.com, where you will find bios of every guest, every host, and in the future, there might be even some surprise guests and hosts. Eventually, Keith and I are going to need a break from this. And, we've got some surprises planned for everybody. So tune in the next couple of weeks to hear that kind of stuff. I want to thank Big Matt for showing up, and I want to apologize to Big Matt for not being able to show up. He said today, "Well, when are you guys going to call me?" He doesn't understand. We've been calling him every week. Like, come on, man. Like, we call you, you don't pick up, then you try and put it back on us. Stop gaslighting and just like pick up your phone when we call you to be the guest. Guys, where can we find you?
Keith Honeycutt 73 on Instagram, and go follow my Orange Jim, the No Wine Cellar.
I'm at M Sesnie, SESNIE on Instagram, but go follow Unpaid and Underrated and Massonomics.
We'll see you next Tuesday, boys.